1. Meet the most popular guy in school. Seriously, every single girl is completely crazy about him. But he is totally cold and never gives anyone a chance. Then, during physical education class, where there is absolutely no doubt that he is the absolute best, the ball lands right near the girls. That is the exact moment Nara decides she's going to show off her best kick to the boys. Unfortunately, she kicks it with so much force that her own shoe flies off and strikes him directly in the head. He asks if she did that on purpose, but she stammers that she had not, insisting it was just a total accident. Then Gun-woo stares at the shoe, saying he wants to check something. He steps in incredibly close, making the other girls hold their breath as Nara panics, wondering if this guy actually just sniffed her. Then Gun-woo suddenly backs away, covering his face. Nara stands there in complete shock, telling herself there is no way because she washes thoroughly every single day. She thinks he is completely insane, warning him not to get any weird ideas. But what Gun-woo is actually focusing on is a bizarre curse mark sitting right on her neck, apparently Orachi. Maru might have something to do with this strange phenomenon. The second Gun-woo leaves, the other girls crowd around Nara to demand how long they have been secretly dating. They cannot believe how lucky Nara is to even speak to him, desperately begging to know what he said. Later, all alone, Nara tries to figure out what kind of weird scent Gun-woo could have smelled on her. Distracted, she leans her hand against a nearby tree. To her absolute surprise, a slimy purple mark is left behind on the bark. Suddenly, a terrifying invisible countdown appears, warning that she has only 4 hours left to live. Honestly, this is terrifying. Right where she touched, a bizarre evil spirit begins forming on the bark. Later, back in class, Nara keeps watching Gun-woo. He is incredibly talented at sports, handsome, and has this powerful aura that draws everyone's undivided attention, even attracting older students who come just to catch a glimpse. She admits he is quite impressive, diligently taking notes in class, and easily being the most popular guy around. But when she looks a little closer, she realizes he is actually a bit different. Instead of actual study notes, his notebook is filled with silly questions and random ramblings like how much he loves eating sausages. Nara realizes that he is actually pretty strange and soon spots another odd habit. He constantly talks directly to himself, even having full debates about what he should eat for lunch. Finally, the class ends. Gun-woo walks right up and announces he has finally identified her scent. Annoyed, Nara asks why he is keeping up with this crazy story. That is when he reveals that she smells exactly like a fox, and the mark on her neck is the actual sign of a fox's curse. Suddenly, time skips ahead and the countdown to her death hits a mere 5 seconds. As those final moments tick away, she suddenly remembers her mother telling her that curses are absolute nonsense. In shock, she drops her trash bag, telling herself that curses cannot possibly exist in their world. When the countdown reaches 3, Gun-woo grabs her hand tightly, asking if she truly does not understand what that mark actually means. Before she can answer, the wall right next to them explodes. The count hits 2 and a runaway truck barrels directly toward her. Look closely at the driver's face. An evil spirit is clearly visible. The countdown finally hits 1. At the exact moment she is about to be crushed, Gun-woo shoves her out of the way, saving her entire life. The truck crashes violently into the wall while Nara falls hard to the ground, completely stunned, wondering what on earth just happened. Right after, she faints and has a wild out-of-body experience, seeing her own body lying there and questioning whether she is actually alive or dead. As her spirit floats, Gun-woo desperately tries to wondering whether she is alive or dead. While Nara's spirit floats, Hunwoo tries to. He slaps her face and shouts, desperately trying to wake her physical body. He begs her to open her eyes, but nothing works. Just then, a dark energy begins to stir. The evil spirit from the truck driver manifests, creeping slowly toward Nara's soul. It has waited 17 long years for this exact opportunity. Now that the hunter's descendant is finally 17, this ancient fox spirit can claim her soul. The dark mist wraps around Nara as she desperately screams for help. As she is dragged away, a punch from Nam Gunwoo shatters the entity. How did he do that? She cannot understand, but she feels his tight grip. He holds her spiritual body and says he can see her perfectly, then spins her around. Shouting at her not to move, he leaps high into the air and flips her upside down. He shoves her back right into her physical body. Then she hears a voice. A deep voice growls. There is no one in the room, but something enters. It is not a human. A massive tiger with a knife in its mouth creeps in. The beast is certain it sensed someone nearby, but looking around, it finds nothing. Its glowing green eyes stare right at Nara, looking straight through her. Terrified, she begins to believe this is all just a bad dream. Suddenly, Nam Gunwoo flings the closet doors open, making her jump in pure fright. She runs out, terrified the tiger has found her, but feels relieved seeing his face. She gasps and asks if he saw that talking beast, but he tells her that is impossible. Nara insists she saw it. In response, he simply points downward. He claims it is just a normal kitten. Right then, Nam Gunwoo's mother appears. Nam Aran spots her and asks with a smile if this lovely girl is his girlfriend. Just classmates, he quickly corrects his mother, sounding flustered. Nara realizes the deep voice actually belonged to his mother, not a monster. She is stunned by her beauty, but Nam Aran immediately notices her neck. A curse mark is visible. After she introduces herself, Nam Gunwoo tries to dismiss her. His mother quickly stops him, warmly insisting that their guest must stay for dinner. Moments later, his brothers appear. Nam Guihan is 27, and Nam Hundu is 18. She immediately recognizes Nam Hundu, the popular school senior, an aspiring actor. Seeing him up close, she is surprised by how incredibly handsome he actually is. Staring at Nam Hundu, she thinks he could easily be a celebrity with those looks. A moment later, Nam Aran calls everyone to the table, announcing dinner is served. They all sit down to eat, but Nara immediately senses a very bizarre atmosphere. Nam Gunwoo's mother just stares, intensely, without blinking. Meanwhile, Nam Hundu refuses to touch his food and simply glares at the table angrily. Worse yet, Nam Gunwoo sits in total, freezing silence. Even the family cat is sitting right at the table, eating alongside them like a human. This whole vibe is incredibly unsettling. She desperately wants to go home. Only the eldest brother, Nam Guihan, acts like a normal human being, kindly offering her food. He tells her to make herself comfortable, but then Nara spots something unusual. She reaches for a feather on his shoulder. Suddenly, the table goes quiet. Everyone gives her a terrifying look. Nam Gunwoo screams at her to stop, but it is too late. A massive white wing erupts from Nam Guihan's back. He gasps as he begins to float upward, leaving Nara completely frozen in shock. She wonders if he is an angel, but her hopes instantly shatter. Guihan transforms into a chicken. An annoyed Gunwoo calls dinner a disaster. He only wants to know how she reversed his brother's animal transformation. And then their mother steps forward to reveal the shocking truth. Nara is a hunter's descendant, sending shockwaves through the entire family. Seizing the moment, the cat asks to stop pretending before Nara's eyes. She transforms into a little girl, but her mother instantly scolds her. Her tiger tail is still showing, sparking a massive argument about garlic. Hando finally explodes, yelling that he is sick of eating garlic. It is in every pancake and cake, tasting absolutely horrible to him. It is straight-up culinary terrorism, making his mother absolutely furious. She orders him to eat in silence. Suddenly, a dark aura surrounds her. She spits right on her son's forehead, triggering the neat freak Hando. He panics in utter disgust, instantly transforming into a giant, heavy pig. But in his pig form, his entire attitude completely flips upside down. He begins devouring everything, shouting that the food is absolutely delicious. He vacuums every plate in seconds, leaving Nara in total disbelief. She cannot believe the school's most popular boy is actually a pig. Talk about complete family chaos. Hando argues with his mother for spitting. Gyuhan complains that they should never have invited a stranger to dinner. The little girl fights with Gun Woo for forcing her to play cat. Losing all patience with the bickering, their mother roars for silence. In a fit of rage, she transforms into a massive tiger, destroying the table. At that very moment, Nara realizes the tiger she saw was real. Acting purely on instinct, she quickly pulls out her phone to take a photo. She snaps a picture of the wild scene, making the whole family panic. They scream at her to delete it immediately, terrifying poor Nara. She nervously asks if she will be eaten, but the mother quickly calms down. She calls it a misunderstanding and begins explaining the ancient legend of Dangun. In the myth, a bear and a tiger entered a cave to become human. Only the bear succeeded, but the legend hides a much bigger secret. There were other beasts in that cave, and this family descended from them. They failed to become human, which makes Gun Woo incredibly nervous. He questions why his mother is sharing their secret with a classmate. Ignoring the bickering, Nara asks Gun Woo the most important question. She asks if he is not human, sparking a dark, playful smile. His smug face leaves the rest of his family looking on in total shock. The chicken calls it embarrassing, while the pig claims it is completely. Obvious they are human, right before Gun Woo finally speaks up. He states that he is human, but his mother cuts in coldly. She says it is all about perspective, whether they are beasts or hunters. To her, this meeting could be seen as a massive, heavy burden. She places a heavy hand on Nara's shoulder with a menace. She adds that if they look at their meeting as a simple human connection, it might just be considered fate, asking the girl which side she chooses. Of the two options she expects it to be, right then the mother shifts back. To her human self, she points to the girl's fox curse mark, presenting a paper talisman with a red design. The mother explains that the young girl cheated death by surviving the curse. Now her future is destined to be totally different from her past. Giving her the paper, she instructs her to place it on her door when necessary, since the design links them. Urging her to go home as it gets late, she sends her off. Nara takes the talisman and departs, highly skeptical that a simple piece of paper could actually link them. Suddenly, a strange energy shivers through her, making her realize she wants absolutely nothing to do with this. Acting on impulse, she throws the talisman to the dirt and bolts. Meanwhile, back inside the house, Yun Woo's older brother questions if letting the girl walk away was wise. But their mother calmly smiles. Do not worry, she will definitely return. She calmly states that if the girl avoids them, she will end up dying. At the hands of the fox, tired and panting, Nara finally stops running. Exhausted but incredibly relieved to have escaped, little did she know the discarded protective charm magically ends up right back inside her backpack. Once home, her mother scolds her for being late, but she goes straight to bed, completely drained. This day was an absolute terrifying nightmare. First, a truck hit her, then a fox almost stole her soul. She discovered humans can shapeshift. She just wanted to wake up. The next morning, her mother screams her awake, asking if she plans to skip school, realizing she is incredibly late. Nara scrambles out without eating, her face only half washed, and her sneakers crushed at the heels. It was supposed to be an ordinary morning, but at the bus stop, something bizarre catches her eye. Sitting on the shoulder of a man browsing his phone is a horrifying creature. Nara is frozen in sheer terror, especially when the beast turns, directly asking what she is staring at. Total panic, seeing a ghost in broad daylight is unreal. Knowing she is the only one who can see it, she tries to act completely normal, keeping her eyes away, but the monster lines in, warning her to stop staring at its human, threatening to tear her eyes out. Suddenly, she recalls Junwoo warned. Terrified, she runs. She realizes her entire city is crawling with spirits, seeing ghosts absolutely terrifies her. Running blindly, she finally reaches her school desperately, wondering if those horrors followed her, opening her classroom door. Her entire world shatters. Ghastly spirits sit everywhere, at the desks and even in the instructor's podium. Every single phantom stares, demanding to know her identity. Her classmate snaps her back, calling her name and offering a seat. Shaken, Nara shuts the door in panic. The routine path and familiar school doors she entered daily now feel like gateways to a completely alien world. Her ordinary existence as a teenager is officially ruined, taking her seat for math. The surrounding spirits crowd close, mocking her inability to solve any of the complex equations. They jeer that college is impossible, whispering dark thoughts directly into her head. A dead construction worker mutters incessantly about how he built the school building. Others crowd her space clothes, whispering chillingly about her recent accident. Nara struggles with her studies. The number of surrounding ghosts keeps increasing, and they begin to suspect something, asking why she is trembling so much. Soon, they realize that she can actually see them. Nara tries her absolute best to act completely normal, but tears are already streaming down her face. She is terrified. Just then Gun-woo suddenly stands up and walks over to her desk. He stops right in front of her. He just stares. Instantly, the terrifying spirits fall silent. With a quick gesture, he uses an ancient magic to ward off their evil presence, pushing every single spirit out of the classroom before sliding the door shut. Once class ends, Nara grabs his arm, begging him to talk. She points, trembling, to a pale spirit standing under a tree. Gun-woo calmly explains who it is. It is just the snack shop lady, who constantly nags him to eat something. He shoos her away, muttering about eating healthy. Next, he introduces Mr. Kim, a worker who died during the construction of the school. He also points out Mr. Park, a peaceful guardian spirit who loves watching students read. Gun-woo explains that there is a vast world hidden beyond our sight. Ghosts are just like regular people. Some are good and some are deeply bad. He warns her that truly malevolent spirits exist, like the fox that targeted her. Then he asks if she still has that special talisman his mother gave her. Honestly, he was shocked his mother would hand over such a rare treasure. Nara freezes in pure shock. She remembers throwing that exact piece of paper away. That little scrap of paper was actually an incredibly powerful ward. Panicking, she tells a quick lie, claiming the talisman is safely tucked away at home. Gun-woo warns her that she must stick it on her door to survive. Too scared to confess, she threw it out. Nara slowly heads back home. The delicious scent of dinner greets her, and she decides to take a quick shower. But while washing her face, a creepy voice suddenly echoes inside the bathroom, whispering about how delicious she smells. It is an evil spirit right there. Annoyed, Nara tells the ghost to leave, assuming it is just her uncle. Outside, her mother calls out, saying she is running to the store for tofu. She asks Nara to watch the stove. Still, Nara believes her uncle is teasing her. Furious, she storms directly into his room to complain about him not knocking. Her uncle, busy on his computer, looks incredibly confused and quickly shuts it. He does not want her seeing his screen. As Nara heads upstairs, she pauses. Suddenly, the horrifying truth hits her. Right there, crawling up the steps, is a monster. A giant, grotesque creature is slowly dragging itself toward her room. It was mimicking her uncle's voice. Terror strikes. She bolts for her bedroom. Nara slams the door shut and locks it, remembering Gun-woo's grim warning. Now bad spirits are real. The creature scratches at the wood, begging her to knock. It tries to phase right through the wall, lured inside by her sweet scent. The vile monster easily pushes right past the basic talisman her mother put up. But the protective voodoo necklace she wears suddenly flares with bright, blinding energy. It keeps the beast at bay. In sheer panic, she grabs some heavy metal weights. She quickly arranges them into a cross. Surprisingly, the creature recoils in pain. But in her frantic rushing, Nara accidentally knocks the weights over, a critical mistake. Instantly, the monster lunges, wrapping its cold claws around her throat to rip her soul out. She swings her backpack, hitting the creature with everything she has, shockingly one of. The blows blasts the monster back, repelled by some sort of glowing protective paper. Nara realizes that the discarded talisman was actually inside her backpack the entire time. Remembering Gun Wu's advice, she scrambles to slap the talisman onto her bedroom door, but she trips, completely paralyzed on the floor by absolute terror. The ghost is too terrifying to face. Panicking, she starts throwing random pens at the monster, which naturally does zero damage and only makes the beast even angrier. The creature shrieks, slamming her against the wall to rip the soul from her body. Gasping as she is about to be eaten, Nara realizes she is right by the closet door. With one last desperate push, she refuses to let a ghost consume her. She slaps the talisman right on the wood. Absolutely nothing happens. The creature keeps stepping closer, but then the paper suddenly begins to glow. It shines intensely as the closet doors fly open and a hand grabs the spirit. To her ultimate relief, Gunwoo steps right out of the closet and holds the pinned monster. Nara cries out for help as her soul begins to slip away. Powerful electric sparks crackle around Gun-woo's fist as he prepares to strike. He punches the creature, tearing a chunk of its body away to force a release. Nara falls free, while the monster regenerates its severed hands into small, twisted shapes. Even as it lunges back in, Gun-woo casually dodges the clumsy attack. Mid-fight, he actually has the nerve to ask if she did her Korean homework. She screams a warning about a backstab, but he is already 10 steps ahead. He whips around and delivers an electric punch that slams the spirit to the ground, giving it zero time to react as he kicks it repeatedly. Enraged, the beast rises back up and opens its massive maw to devour him. In response, Gun-woo charges up his lightning hand again and delivers a devastating final blow, obliterating the monster completely. The spirit shrieks as its body vaporizes, releasing a horde of small, captive specters into the air. Gun-woo explains those are the lost souls eaten by the monster known as Ananki, warning that when a bad ghost eats a soul, it becomes a specter. He then seals the remaining essence inside a glass jar, locking it with a talisman. It is finally over. With the threat cleared, he steps back into the closet, saying he is leaving. Nara is completely baffled and points toward the actual front door. When she looks back, he is gone. She opens the closet to look for him, only to step directly into Gun-woo's own bedroom. Gun-woo explains that this special talisman is a rabbit's den, connecting one door to another just as his mother enters the room, asking how his hunt went. Overwhelmed, Nara breaks down in tears, crying about how terrifying the ordeal was. But Gun-woo's mother reveals that the real issue is Nara herself. Her soul is like premium, delicious bait, irresistibly drawing hungry specters to her. These monsters are driven by endless hunger, consuming every single soul they find. She explains that for specters living in the dark, Nara's soul is like permitted prey, and that is the terrifying truth behind the mark on her neck. Now, every ghost that catches that scent will come after her, and as soon as the fox regains its strength, it will hunt her. Too, shaking with fear, Nara asks what she can do, but the answer is chilling. It is brutal. She is going to die soon, and the poor girl is completely devastated. No college, no dating, not even once. This awful news completely paralyzes her with fear. Her end is coming right after she turns 17, but then her mother reveals a shred of hope. Jaeun-woo must protect her, but the boy is clearly not thrilled. He agrees anyway, but he still demands to know why he has to be Nara's guardian. His mother explains that it is all because of the magical rabbit's den talisman connecting their rooms. It links their rooms. Seeing his complaints, she snaps. She transforms into a massive tiger, growling to ask if he dares defy her. Now Nara, on the very other hand, is suddenly filled with a brand new hope. She remembers Jaeun-woo already saved her once and just captured an Eongwai spirit. If he continues to protect her, she might survive. The girl starts thanking him repeatedly. But Jian Wu's mother cuts her off. Nothing in this world comes for free. Nara asks in absolute terror if the payment is her very soul. Thankfully, it is not. Instead, they want a trade. In exchange for her life, she must bring them something. They want a relic of Dangun. The mother reveals that Nara's grandmother was a legendary hunter. Her incredible power came from a unique thumb ring belonging to the god Dangun himself. That ring is the relic they want. Nara is totally confused, explaining. Her grandmother passed away years ago, and she has never even heard of any ring. Jian Wu's mother assures her the ring knows its master and will return soon. Since it is a legendary item, it will return soon. Left with no other choice, Nara agrees. Later in her bedroom, she stares blankly at an old family photograph. She looks closely at the photo, wondering what kind of person her grandmother actually was. Her own mother always hated talking about her, only saying she was rarely home. Now everything finally clicks. Nara realizes her grandmother spent her time out there hunting deadly foxes. She wonders where the relic could possibly be before deciding to get ready for bed. Midway through changing, she freezes. She remembers the portal. The direct link between her closet and Jian Wu's room. Talk about zero privacy. Next morning, while rushing to get ready for school, Nara gets a pretty massive fright. Jian Wu casually slides right out of her closet, asking to borrow her homework. He snatches her homework and leaves, leaving Nara screaming at him to use the door. She is completely annoyed. Meanwhile, over at Jian Wu's place, things are far more serious. His mother is carefully studying the trapped evil spirit when a guest suddenly drops in. A man named Peng Beek climbs right through the window. She scolds him immediately. She tells him to use the door, but he laughs, saying she is acting too human. For a beast, the window is the polite way. Peng Beek quickly turns serious. He warns her that time is slipping away. To become human, she has to work harder. They must purify the world and trap way more evil spirits before the end. Before Dangun actually descends, they must earn enough good deeds or they remain beasts forever. Talk about high stakes. Meanwhile, back in her room, Nara's quiet night is shattered. Deafening guitar screech blares right through her closet door, making her jump. She swings the closet open, coming face to face with Jian Wu rock out on his bed. He is lounging in his underwear. Angry, she demands he stop playing since it is late. The boy complains that it is rock and roll, but finally shuts up. In the quiet silence that follows, she softly thanks him for saving her life earlier. Jian Wu hears her but stays silent, yet their strange connection is growing. This strange connection made them feel like they were closer than ever. From that day on, they walk to school together. Naturally, this sudden closeness does not go unnoticed. By their classmates, whispers spread fast, and everyone immediately assumes that Nara and Jian Wu are actually dating. Extreme jealousy flares up among the girls, and this dark energy summons a lurking evil spirit. It watches them with absolute fury, cornered and pressured. By her hostile classmates, Nara desperately denies being in any relationship. With Jian Wu terrified of bringing even worse danger upon herself, suddenly, the furious Phantom corners her, screeching that she is a liar. It screams the accusation over and over until unleashing a devastating, high-pitched scream that instantly drains Nara's life force. Jian Wu catches a glimpse of the spirit glinting with pure hatred, but he cannot quite grasp what just happened. Meanwhile, the ghost drifts toward the stairwell, chanting that Nara is a wicked, horrible girl. That is when a sinister voice echoes from the darkness offering to help. It is the cunning fox spirit proposing to wipe out the girl. Without a second thought, the predator simply devours the girl's ghost. Instantly, the beast swells in size, a horrifying fused entity dripping with thick black muck. It starts pulling itself up the stairs, but it knows this power is not enough yet. It must feed on more souls. Suddenly, it spots its next prey, the harmless lunchbox ghost resting in a nearby branch. The fox spirit glides smoothly along the concrete walls, closing in on the unsuspecting target. With a twisted whisper of thanks for the meal, the creature savagely consumes the helpless phantom. After class ends, Nara notices an eerie, unnatural silence hanging over the hallways. Soon, the final bell rings and the students quickly head for the exit. Packing up, Jianwu quietly asks her if she has spotted any spirits, wondering if they gathered somewhere to watch something. But Nara realizes that even the friendly lunchbox ghost has completely vanished. Wait, a simple chalk circle. This instantly puts Jianwu on high alert. Snatching a small piece of chalk from his pocket, he rapidly draws a protective white ring on the floor and shoves her inside. He quickly explains that as long as she remains within this boundary, the malicious spirits will not be able to detect her. He warns her to stay put no matter what happens, promising to investigate the situation and return quickly. Nara nervously asks if things are that bad, but he offers no reply and slips away. He heads straight toward a shadowy wing of the building, climbing the stairs toward the restrooms. Upon entering, he immediately senses a massive, crushing pressure. Hidden nearby, he flings open one of the stall doors and finds all the local ghosts huddled inside, shivering in absolute terror. He asks what they are doing, but they desperately shush him, whispering that a legendary evil spirit is hunting nearby. But before Jianwu can make a move, the ancient fox bursts into the room. It swallows every single ghost in a flash, mutating into an incredibly massive and grotesque beast. Absolutely stunned, Jianwu confronts the beast as it demands to know where Nara is. Meanwhile, the girl waiting inside the chalk circle grows increasingly anxious. She frantically spams messages to Jianwu, begging him to come back because she is scared. Jianwu sees the alerts buzzing, but cannot possibly answer while locked in a tense standoff with this predator. The beast growls that she felt Nara's energy just moments ago, right before it suddenly vanished. Watching his innocent ghost companions get butchered like this ignites an unstoppable, white-hot rage within Jianwu. Sudden, crushing energy surges from his body. The fox spits out an accusation. He is meddling in her personal revenge, and she couldn't care less about humans. She offers a simple deal: tell her where the girl is and he gets to live. But without a second thought, Gunwoo answers with an energized fist straight to her face, sending her flying. As she struggles back up, the swallowed spirit of Mr. Park speaks, complaining that the hit actually hurt. Distracted by his old friend's voice, Gunwoo fails to react in time. One of her 9 tails whips forward, launching his body clean through a heavy wooden bathroom stall. The beast sneers, boasting she ate those spirits too fast to fully digest them. Absolutely furious, Gunwoo lunges right back into the fray, unleashing a brutal barrage of heavy fists straight into her gut. The impacts are so devastating they force her to vomit up Mr. Park, who quickly thanks Gunwoo. Before vanishing, unbothered, the beast shrugs and says old ghosts taste terrible anyway. Gunwoo quickly realizes this is no ordinary monster because, despite devouring countless souls, she still keeps her mind completely sharp. Now feeling fully restored, she readies to fight for real. Gunwoo simply warns her that he will keep beating her until every last soul is set free. Charging his fists, he suddenly spots an incoming spirit lunging from a toilet bowl. He barely dodges at the last second, only to realize it's a fake. She had disguised one of her tails to catch him off guard. Now, the monster taunts him to watch his step. Looking down, Gunwoo gasps as the floor erupts into rows of sharp fangs, forcing him to jump back just in time. Up in the air, he spots another trap. Even the ceiling lights are alive. He quickly kicks off the ceiling to return to the floor, dodging another snapping stall. Realizing that her 9 tails are generating all these wild illusions, he decides to bypass the noise and charge straight ahead, driving a brutal knee directly into her jaw. He quickly follows with an overhead strike that slams her hard into the ground. As Gunwoo readies a finishing blow, a furry tail wraps around his arm, halting his movement. Looking down, he sees his own arm transforming, and get this, it is shifting into a Monstrous beast-like form overflowing with raw power, the fox starts to mock him, asking why a monster like him goes to such lengths to protect worthless humans. She claims that the very second people see his true nature, they will run. In absolute horror and disgust, she adds that his pathetic longing for human love is deeply annoying, but Gunwoo just scoffs, telling her it's none of her business because, unlike her, he does not prey on innocent lives. He forces his arm back to normal, charges up his fist, and promises to beat her to a pulp. Both fighters charge, fury burning in their eyes. Gunwoo connects with a devastating punch right to her snout, unleashing an impact so loud it echoes across the campus, reaching Nara down in the quiet courtyard. Startled by the sound, Nara hesitates, wondering if she should leave the chalk circle. To check, totally oblivious that Gunwoo is fighting for his life, she continues texting on her phone, but right then, a boy riding a bicycle bursts onto the scene and accidentally crashes right into her. It is her senior, Hondo, who quickly asks what she is doing out here, but during the sudden collision, the bike tire smudges the chalk, breaking the circle and leaving Nara completely exposed. The mark on Nara's neck begins to glow. In that exact instant, the fox pinpoints her exact location. The evil spirit has finally found its target and leaves the bathroom to go after her. Seeing this, Jae-woo becomes desperate, knowing the fox is heading straight for the girl. In a matter of seconds, the black sludge creature appears right in front of Nara, opening its enormous mouth, promising to devour her. Terrified, the young woman throws her arms up to protect her face. However, when the fox tries to bite, it can't reach the student. Hando, the middle brother, creates a magical barrier that blocks the attack. The fox then notices the magic circle drawn on the ground, which prevents it from getting closer. Finding the monster's appearance repulsive, Hando conjures a light magic that pushes the spirit back. He declares that the creature's ugliness cannot interfere with his own beauty, activating an aura he claims is untouchable. Nara thinks to herself that a self-compliment shouldn't be that effective. The fox, confused, asks what kind of hunter he even is. Right then, Hando notices that a few drops of the monster's sludge have splattered onto his hand. He is disgusted by the filth, but the worst happens next. His hand begins to transform into that of a pig. Ashamed of this beastly side, he tries to hide his hand. Soon after, Jae-woo comes running and asks his brother to protect Nara. The fox warns that no matter how much they fight, the girl's life will be hers. Ignoring the threat, Hando puts the young woman on his bicycle and starts pedaling away. Nara asks if he's just going to leave Jae-woo behind. Hando explains that if he fights the spirit, he will completely transform into a pig, a fate he absolutely wants to avoid at all costs, so he speeds up, fleeing the scene. The fox spirit doesn't give up and begins to chase them at high speed. Talk about an intense ride. And Hando actually blames the girl for the whole mess. On a turn, she nearly falls, but he catches her by the tie. Suddenly, the fox emerges from a wall, trying to snap at them both, managing to envelop them with its sludge body. At the last second, Jae-woo appears and lands a powerful kick on the monster, knocking the creature away and saving them both. Now, Hando is completely covered in sludge and becomes even more irritated, knowing he's going to turn into a pig in front of everyone. Nara even points out that he seems to be getting fatter. The fox also realizes he's not an ordinary human. As the transformation accelerates, the younger brother tries to help, but Hando is already pedaling desperately as his body changes, crossing the street and nearly running over people. He swerves around a mother with a baby stroller, yanks the bike into a sharp turn, and ends up going over an overpass, flying for a moment before starting to fall. They go down a very steep, dangerous ramp, crashing straight into a mountain of trash at the bottom. After the crash, the transformation is complete, and Hando, now a giant pig, continues to pedal angrily. Meanwhile, Jae-woo slides down the same ramp and joins He stops in front of the fox, ready to fight, and emanates a frightening aura. Hando tells him not to get worked up. Then Jian Wu asks the pig how far he thinks he can run with that appearance, and tells him, time to fight together because running is no longer an option. The fox lunges forward. It targets the three of them, but the giant pig uses his heavy body to land a kick directly in the mouth, knocking it flat. Nam Jian Wu seizes his chance. He charges his hand, unleashing a devastating punch of pure spiritual energy. Talk about a massive hit. The spirit shatters, leaving Nara completely stunned. She is amazed by the strength of both brothers, but with its final dying breath, the remaining energy of the fox wraps around Nara's body before vanishing. The girl collapses instantly. The brothers rush to her side, and the worried giant pig fears she is dead. Nam Jian Wu tells him to stop being dramatic, explaining, she only fainted because her soul left her body. Where could it be? Now suspecting the fox used some transformation magic to hide it, Nam Jian Wu begins striking everything in sight. He unleashes a heavy punch on a tree and smashes a nearby post, desperate to find the girl's lost soul, even injuring his own hand. Meanwhile, Nara's spirit wanders aimlessly through a massive dark void, feeling cold. The souls of the construction worker, Mr. Kim, and the schoolwoman suddenly appear, shouting at her to run. But before she can even move, a dark sludge tentacle grabs her ankle and pulls her deep into the darkness. Terrified, she spots a faint light and passes straight through it, falling directly into an ancient memory. She sees a man saying he failed to keep his promise because humans killed his lover and their child. Nara realizes she is witnessing the fox's past and its deep hatred. And now the truth unfolds. The vision shifts to her own family, showing her grandmother who had eaten fox livers long ago, bringing a curse upon their entire bloodline. The grandmother shielded her granddaughter, who was still a helpless baby, with her life. In that moment, Nara finally understands everything. The spirit's intense grudge became the black curse mark on her neck from birth. Suddenly, she hears her mother's voice in the background, screaming at the old woman that she cannot handle this terrifying situation anymore. The memory shows Nara's mother leaving the house with her baby. Her grandmother begged her not to leave, warning that without lifting the curse, the child will die. But her mother was sick of the stories and yelled she would raise Nara to be normal, far away from all this. But this memory belongs to the fox, not to Nara. Right then, the dark sludge tentacles wrap around her once more. The spirit explains it has lived inside her for 17 years. It watched her grow up happy and loved, realizing its own lost child could have had that very same life. The fox's deep grudge was never truly against Nara, but for its own baby, who never got to grow up at all. Suddenly the scene shifts. Nara, now in spirit form, stands inside a completely different memory, watching her grandmother from long ago. Desperate, she begins to scream, trying to grab her attention, and then the impossible happens. Her grandmother inside that ancient memory actually hears her granddaughter's voice calling from the future. Nara cries out that the fox has trapped her, begging for help. Reacting in real time, the grandmother reaches out her hand, managing to grab her granddaughter's spiritual hand, telling Nara not to let the darkness consume her, urging her to stay strong. She fights back. Right then, Nara spots her grandmother's relic ring. The past and the present collide in spectacular fashion as the relic links their souls. This sudden collision rips open a massive rift, exposing both spiritual energies. The fox spirit and Nara stand fully exposed. She can feel the monster's deep torment. Still, she wonders why it vents on her and channels the ring. With one devastating, massive strike, she completely shatters the spirit, ending the threat. Suddenly, her soul gets dragged toward the dark, endless void, but Nam Yun Wu lunges forward. He grabs her hand, anchoring her spirit back to her body before she stirs. She sees the peaceful school spirits are finally freed, but one last threat remains. A stray shard of the fox tries to flee, but Suni the pig intercepts it. Locking it in a talisman capsule, they seal it for good. Battle 1. Now Gunu has to put Nara's soul back, warning her that it's going to hurt. With no time for a painless ritual, he brutally shoves her spirit back inside. Though the pain is agonizing, a powerful blue light suddenly explodes from her entire body. The brilliant flash shocks everyone as Nara's eyes snap wide open. Clutched tightly in her hand is Danun's legendary relic ring, her grandmother's precious legacy. Exhausted and starving, the three of them stop at a convenience store to eat. While stuffing their faces, Nam asks about the mysterious ring, prompting Nara to explain. She claims her grandmother literally handed it over from within a memory. Nam Yunwoo is completely skeptical, joking that she must have hit her head pretty hard. After all, meeting someone inside a memory is impossible. Nara just shrugs. She doesn't know how it worked, but she is just happy she saw her grandmother again. Even if it was just for a fleeting moment, later they head back home. They hand the bottled fox soul to their mother, who is immediately drawn to the shiny ring. She explains it is a sacred treasure that boosts spiritual power 100-fold. Naturally, everyone gets pretty greedy. The mother is the first one who tries it on. But the ring rejects her, leaping off her finger. Next is her brother. He claims his birthright as the eldest son and immediately slides the magical ring on. For a second, a blinding light flares up, and actual wings sprout from his back. But his glory is cut short when he suddenly turns into a chicken, classic anime logic. The ring slips off, flying straight back into Nara's hands. Nam Yunwoo sighs. Nam Yunwoo declares the relic has chosen its master, while Nara stands there clueless. She casually slips it onto her thumb. In that exact instant, a blinding flash. The entire house begins to rumble violently as a fierce, howling wind whips around them. Suddenly, a crimson liquid with a heavy, metallic scent pools all over the table. The crushing power causes everyone to lose control, instantly forcing them into beast forms. Right in the middle of this chaos, a mysterious figure materializes and floats. It is an old man clad in wild animal pelts, floating directly before their eyes. He introduces himself as the ancestral deity of hunters, watching and waiting. He says he was waiting for the ring's next successor, and Nara is the chosen one. While everyone is completely paralyzed, the old deity promises to reveal a dark truth. He reveals a chilling secret. There are hidden, dangerous beasts roaming the human world. Monsters wearing human skin to sow chaos, and hearing this makes Nara's entire family completely panic. They freeze in terror behind him. Sensing danger, Nara tries to distract him. She desperately redirects his attention to stop him from discovering their massive secret right then and there. Monsters are drawn to this sacred relic, meaning pure Nara is bound to face endless trials. Before departing, the elder says utilizing this relic is entirely up to her, leaving behind one final chilling warning: never trust the beasts. With that, the ancient deity finally vanishes. The moment he leaves, the family drops their act and goes right back to normal. Nara is left dazed, realizing she is now a hunter who will not hunt. Meanwhile, elsewhere, their pet pig, Pungbayak, washes up and instantly shifts into his human form. Adoring his own reflection, he spots a glowing red +1 mark on his back, indicating his status as a high-tier spirit. It absolutely shocks him, since he is never witnessed such massive power in the fox tribe, making him question the matriarch on how she even tracked him down. She just smiles, a total trade secret. Back at her desk, Nara mentions to her quiet classmate Nam Gun-woo that even her regular pencil is glowing. She jokes about being a magical girl, ready to strike any foul creature in her path. Annoyed, the boy snaps, telling her to focus on her actual homework. Unbothered, she loops her hairband like a slingshot, launching the makeshift weapon. It flies straight like an arrow, tearing a hole right through the wall. In a massive swirl of energy, vanishing past skyscrapers, she freezes, shocked. She cannot comprehend this newfound power, but her classmate pushes her to try it again. Readying the hairband across her ring-wearing thumb, she fires another pencil. Into the air, only this time, her wild shot strikes her own mother. Dead on as she walks in, sudden chaos, the entire house violently shakes. As the angry matriarch shifts into a massive, roaring tiger, vow shouting she will shred them to pieces once the chaotic dust settles and the mother cools back down to human form. She realizes the projectile is gone. She reveals a critical hunter truth. Hunter arrows always chase dark energy. For Nara, intense training begins. This leaves the girl highly suspicious. If the arrow seeks out wicked spirits, then why on earth did it strike her mom, remembering the god's dark warning? She doubts the beasts around her, and let's be real, who wouldn't be paranoid? Late at night, she heads back to her bedroom through the magic closet, exhausted. She skips her homework and collapses, but in the dead of night, Nara wakes up. Craving a late-night snack, grabbing a sweet treat, she swings the fridge door shut, only to stand eyed with a terrifying, shadowy specter lurking in the kitchen. In pure terror, she acts completely blind and slowly backs away. Suddenly, she hears low, agonizing groans. The ghost actually has her missing pencil impaled right through its chest. Demanding she pull the painful thing out immediately, morning arrives. Nara is utterly drained, no sleep. Peaceful rest was completely ruined by relentless nightmare spirits. She realizes that rogue pencil triggered this chaotic mess, and she desperately needs to retrieve it so these creatures leave her alone. Walking to school, it dawns on her that her playful little throw ended up unleashing a full-blown spiritual storm, having apparently skewered a massive nest of local ghosts. Her hunt leads to an abandoned house she vividly remembers from her childhood days. Back then, this spooky place terrified her. She took long detours. Why return now? Even adults avoid this place. Nara recalls rumors of the former residents dying of a mysterious illness, and how thugs recently started using the ruined property as a hideout for their shady business. Stepping inside, she prepares for the absolute worst. Mew is busy mocking his friends, asking if they are scared and what they would say when they get thrown in jail for being cowards. Suddenly, mid-chat, one of them tells the girl in the group to stop smoking, complaining that the awful smell is ruining their clothes, but as it turns out, not a single soul has even lit cigarette. Instead, a thick, mysterious smoke creeps in, gradually taking the form of a terrifying specter with razor-sharp teeth. Spotting the monster, the punks immediately lose their minds in absolute panic. Meanwhile, we cut back to our main character, Nara, who is currently standing outside the creepy property. The entire area is sealed off with police tape because those teenagers have mysteriously vanished. Feeling pretty anxious, she decides to sneak a quick look to make sure things are fine. Before long, she finds a massive tree, way larger than it looked from afar. To her absolute surprise, her pencil is wedged right in the center of the trunk. She vividly recalls that pencil flying an incredibly long distance to land here. Nara remembers the matriarch's warning that a hunter's arrow, meaning her pencil, always pursues dark, evil energy. This entire situation is deeply unsettling. She knows the dream specter will keep tormenting her unless she removes that pencil from the trunk. Shaking with fear, she attempts to summon the spirit, pleading for it to let her retrieve the pencil, but the ghost completely ignores her. With absolutely no other options and knowing that nobody is around, she decides to just go in and get this nightmare finished immediately. But the second she sets foot on the grounds, she steps on a patch of loose dirt and plummets straight down a hole, landing in total darkness. Her back slams painfully against a vehicle, and she realizes she is inside an underground garage. The pitch-black air is suffocating, and she cannot see a single thing, making her panic about escaping. Honestly, how on earth is she getting out, since this is a garage? There must be an exit, but the massive subterranean space shows no path out. Searching around using her phone flashlight, she starts noticing some really bizarre details. Giant tree roots are bursting out from the concrete walls, spreading everywhere. She even spots lit candles, an undeniable sign of recent human presence. Suddenly, a quiet sound confirms her absolute worst nightmare. She is not alone. Swinging her flashlight around, the beam exposes those three missing teenagers. Standing alongside several strangers, they resemble mindless, shuffling zombies with completely vacant stares and unnerving, jerky movements. Elsewhere, a mysterious man named Nam and Nara's mother talk in deep confusion. They cannot understand why. Nara's ancient curse is still active. Despite capturing the wicked fox, the worried mother wonders where the vessel trapping the fox spirit's soul is hidden. Back in the garage, Nara discovers the dark truth. The giant tree is plastered in talismans and surrounded by many ritual jars containing sealed spirits. A single jar right in the center appears to be the prison holding the fox. Before she can process any of this, an eerie phantom manifests right behind her while the mindless zombies begin to hem her in. Nara screams at them to stay back, but they keep coming. As they lunge to attack, she narrowly dodges and pockets her phone, bracing herself for the absolute worst. Right then, the very spirit from her dreams appears floating before her face. He offers a deal: pull the pencil out of the trunk and he will save her. The entity points toward a log he prepared for her to climb. With no time to waste, Lyra scrambles up as fast as she can, but those relentless zombies catch her, dragging her leg down and trying to pull her under. Their twisted faces strain as they struggle to capture her, but she fights back, landing a vicious kick straight to a zombie's face, knocking the creature back. Breaking free, she climbs on, wondering how this insane situation could be happening over a stupid pencil. Then she spots a light above and reaches out, hauling herself out of the dark pit right at the base of the massive tree. Relieved to escape with just minor scratches, she focuses on that pencil wedged in the trunk, but right as she grabs it, one of those missing girls crawls out of the dirt and grabs her ankle, trying to drag her back down. Lyra desperately holds onto the tree and notices the blonde woman crying in absolute terror. She kicks free of her grip and, without understanding why she is crying, she finally yanks out the pencil. Right as the wood is cleared, thick black sludge oozes from the bark. The pencil had skewered a nasty, bug-like evil spirit, which instantly screams and quickly dissolves into nothingness. It feels like a victory, but wait, things are about to get worse. As she lets her guard down, a massive foot busts out from the trunk. A giant monster emerges, roaring that it is finally free because of her. Trapped for 70 long years, this furious beast blames a man named Pung Bayak. Now it wants blood. Terrified, Lyra wonders what kind of nightmare this is. Realizing she has accidentally awakened something truly dangerous, the beast screams that for years it had to watch its family fall apart while locked away, completely helpless. But high above, a mysterious man in a suit silently watches the entire chaos. The monster spots him immediately and roars for him to come down. It is Pung Bayak. He appears, coldly saying the seal should have remained locked. Ignoring him, the beast charges, but Pung Bayak vanishes from sight and drops from above, landing a devastating kick that sends the giant crashing down. Standing over it, Pung Bayak demands to know how the seal was shattered. Meanwhile, Lyra quickly hides the pencil, acting like she has absolutely no clue. Pung Bayak commands the beast to crawl back inside the wood. Infuriated, the giant rises and throws a heavy punch directly at Pung Bayak's chest, forcing a slight step back, but he barely feels it. The monster swings again to crush him, but Pung Bayak blocks the massive fist without even flinching. With effortless cool, he warns that if it goes back inside now, he will let it live, but the furious beast refuses to listen, throwing continuous punches while Pung Bayak stands completely unfazed, realizing brute strength is useless. The giant demon exhales a massive torrent of fire, yet the suit-wearing powerhouse shields himself with just one arm, coldly telling the beast to stop playing. As Pung Bayak prepares to strike back, the clever demon makes a sudden move. It vanishes, instantly reappearing right next to Lyra and snatching her up before leaping far away from danger. the beast escapes with the terrified girl through dark doorway, slamming it shut. A second later, Peng Bayak catches up and bursts through, promising that this time he will tear the beast limb from limb. But as he takes a few steps forward, he spots a tiny crab on the floor and realizes too late it is a trap. Instantly, a strange magical barrier warps him. A deserted beach lies before him, with a door standing right inside a heart drawn in the sand. A nearby sign shows he is in Busausen, driving Pengbaek into an absolute fury. He recognizes the nature deity trap, the exact same trick that caught him 70 years ago. Meanwhile, back in a safe spot, the ogre asks the girl if she is hungry. He notices she looks exactly like a woman in an old photograph, wearing the same clothes. Asking why she is here, the young woman replies that she wanted to retrieve something. She only wanted to pull a pencil out of the tree, but the ogre corrects her. That was no pencil, it was the sacred arrow that broke his prison seal. Suddenly, the tense moment is cut short by the girl's ringing cell phone. It is her friend Jian Wu calling, and she immediately spots an opening. She runs to answer, desperately trying to scream for help, but the monster reacts. He moves like lightning, snatching the phone and instantly crushing it. He tells her that since the house's guardian deity is free, she is safe here. But she is terrified, realizing this monster plans to keep her trapped forever. Just then, the blonde woman from the basement appears, looking completely lucid. She warns the girl not to trust the ogre, revealing his true nature. He is the one who locked everyone downstairs, no guardian, just a beast. A monster who literally feeds on the residents. Naturally, the ogre denies everything. He claims Pengbaek is the real villain, then strikes the blonde woman to silence her. She collapses instantly, leaving our protagonist in absolute shock. Suddenly, the other trapped victims charge out of the basement, attacking the ogre. They scream for the student to escape through the window, so she runs. She flees as the ogre easily overpowers the two men, tossing them aside. He slams them against the wall and desperately tries to convince her to stay. He claims they are brainwashed and Pengbaek will catch her. Honestly, who can blame her? She has no idea who to trust here. She remembers Pengbaek asking if she freed the beast and the matriarch's warning. That a hunter's arrow always pursues evil energy. Suddenly, it all clicks. Connecting the dots, she realizes the overcoat man was telling the truth. She bolts for the exit, but the furious ogre blocks her path. He slams her hard against the wall, knocking her completely unconscious. As she loses consciousness, a hidden neural connection suddenly snaps. The man in the cap was just a clone controlled by Pengbaek. The ogre's blow severed the link. Atop a distant roof, Pengbaek feels it. He immediately rushes to the scene while back at the house, the ogre waits. The beast decides to eat before Pengbaek arrives, feeling slightly guilty. He only hurt the girl to protect her, but just then, a car pulls up. It stops right outside the abandoned house, carrying Nam and his family. These are skilled hunters, and the matriarch instantly senses Nara's energy. It is radiating from inside, though her son jokes she is just tracking her. He claims she is just using a tracking app as they open the trunk. They arm themselves with talisman-wrapped weapons, ready to hunt the spirit. While the mother protects her sacred relic, Nam only cares about saving Nara. Nam acts first, vaulting over the outer wall with incredible agility. The matriarch notices a very strange tree in the garden before they knock. Find answers, opening the door reveals a dark, bizarre place. Nam's older brother stops them, warning about a dangerous rabbit hole trap. It triggers with spiritual power, sending victims anywhere. He says he can disarm the barrier quickly, but the impatient matriarch simply rips the door off its hinges, claiming there is no time. The family rushes inside, desperately searching for Nara. Soon, Nam makes a horrifying discovery. He finds the blonde woman and the other captives, still alive but fused directly into the walls of the house. They have literally become part of the structure. The sight is chilling. The mother commands her eldest son to break the spell. He explains that this ancient magic will take time, but he immediately begins working. Meanwhile, Jianwu gets impatient and starts searching for Nara on his own, completely ignoring his family's warnings. He hears a strange noise behind a door and thinks Nara is inside. Peeking inside, he spots a massive blue dokibai with its back turned. The beast is using a rabbit hole talisman to steal market food. His siblings catch up, staring in shock at the ancient nature spirit. The dokibai suddenly senses their presence, but it is already too late. Jianwu charges, wielding his lightning-infused bat and landing a devastating blow to its head, screaming to know where Nara is. The monster, barely feeling the impact, just asks who he is. Jianwu strikes again, demanding his friend back. Irritated, the beast snaps, but obsessed with finding Nara, Jianwu rams the bat into its stomach and charges it with raw electricity. Yet, even with that shocking power, the monster does not even flinch. It retaliates with a brutal flurry of rapid punches. One hit sends Jianwu flying straight into the wall. He is completely outmatched by this spirit. It was just trying to eat, and now it is furious, preparing to strike. Jianwu again. The mother steps in, delivering a ferocious slap to the beast. The force of her hand launches the giant across the room, defeating it in a single hit. Talk about an absolute beast of a mom. The matriarch demands to know where the relic is. The dazed dokibai can only ask what just hit him. She orders Jianwu and Hano to search for Nara, while she and her eldest son handle the beast, but she instantly changes her mind and tells even her eldest son to step back, claiming she needs to stretch her muscles a bit. Since it has been a while since her last fight, the spirit realizes her power is not spiritual and wonders how she knows Pong Bayak. He assumes she must be one of Pong Bayak's servants. Hearing this, the matriarch is highly offended by the accusation, stating that their bond is one of partnership and mutual respect. Enraged by the mention of Pong's name, the dokibai calls her a servant and lunges forward, throwing a massive punch that the woman easily stops with a single palm. The beast swings his other arm, and as they clash, he finally realizes she has zero magic, only sheer brute strength. Refusing to yield, both launch into an epic battle of pure power. Dakaya respects her raw power, but the matriarch mocks him, saying she hasn't even unleashed half of her power. The monster fires back that he hasn't used a quarter of his either. Instantly, they trade savage insults while testing each other's strength. Gradually, the matriarch completely dominates, driving the stubborn spirit down until he sinks into the ground, desperately asking what she is. In response, she delivers a punch straight to his face. Fight over. While the fight rages on, Hondo, Sumbai, and Jianwu run upstairs, searching for Nara. The place is completely filthy, covered in thick dust and on the verge of collapsing. Jianwu keeps calling out Nara's name until he finally hears a reply coming from a room. Bursting open the door, they find her gagged on the floor, fast asleep. In fact, she is snoring quite deeply. They cannot comprehend how anyone can sleep soundly in a crisis like this. After shaking her a bit, Jianwu's voice finally wakes her. He asks if she is all right, untying her while demanding to know. She did not answer. Before she can explain, Nara suddenly hugs him tightly, crying that she just experienced something terrifying and needs a moment to calm down. Jianwu is reminded of a dark truth. Her world is incredibly dangerous. Back at the showdown, the stubborn Dakyabi refuses to yield. He and the matriarch trade heavy punches until the blue beast grabs her, dragging her violently through the walls and smashing everything in sight, feeling her back repeatedly slam against the solid stone. The matriarch gets tired of this game and reveals her true form, a giant golden tiger. Swiping her sharp claws, she deeply wounds the beast, who stands frozen in absolute shock. The impact of their clash makes the entire building shake, and the ceiling above Jianwu completely collapses. Gravity takes over. Jianwu holds Nara tightly as they fall, landing luckily on a soft bed that cushions their heavy drop. soon. The whole group is reunited on the lower floor. Looking around, they realize they are standing in a bizarre room filled with stacked, sealed jars. The matriarch demands that the Dakyabi explain this mystery. He reveals that this room is a prison and a storehouse created by Pungbaek. He would capture various Yonghui, locking them inside to feed on each other. Afterward, Pungbaek would simply devour the strongest survivor. The matriarch refuses to believe it, insisting her master would never commit such atrocities. She clearly remembers him telling her to purify the land to finally become human. The Dakyabi adamantly insists it is the truth, explaining that Pungbaek is dying slowly, turning into an empty husk that devours Yonghui just to extend his life. At that exact moment, Pungbaek himself manifests right in front of the family. The Dakyabi explains that by devouring so many spirits, Pungbaek has become a corrupted high-level spirit. For years, he dedicated himself to saving humans, but death was his only reward. The thought of fading away completely terrified him. In his despair, he begged the gods for salvation, but they remained silent, leading him down this dark road. Seeking survival, the Grandmaster tried absolutely everything. Eventually, he ended up consuming a Yonghui spirit and was amazed by the incredible effects. He realized he could prolong his failing life and cure his illness without begging the silent gods or humiliating himself. This dark breakthrough felt like total liberation, but a single sip was only an uncontrollable addiction took hold. Pungbaek sank deep, filling his body with spirits while suffering a brutal withdrawal that made him crave even more. The constant thirst turned into a truly agonizing, overwhelming pain. He lost control entirely. Lost in that delirious, feverish state of mind, he stumbled upon an ancient tree inside a private garden. That tree overflowed with Yonghui that a Dakibai had gathered for 300 years to protect his family. Without hesitation, Pungbaek sealed the nature spirit guarding the tree and, like a farmer harvesting ripe fruit, greedily feasted on the ancient energy. Back in the present, Pungbaek decides to wrap things up, but the Dakibai matriarch steps up to confront him. Finally seeing the face of their traitor, she asks mockingly if he enjoyed the captured evil spirits he stole from them. Pungbaek laughs arrogantly, no reason to refuse such a generous gift. He taunts them for crawling like dogs to become human, sneering that he only treated them like the beasts they are. The matriarch fumes at his smug words, and even young Nara seethes with pure, unbridled anger. Pungbaek then lays out his cruel plan. To him, discarding useless tools is only natural. He has already hoarded enough Yonghui to build up a massive personal supply. Now that their tree is completely empty and this Dakibai family is useless, it is time to dispose of them. Right then, the physical form of the nature spirit, the tree, begins to burn with eerie blue flames. Soon, the entire house catches fire, trapping the siblings inside. Pungbaek sneers that they will burn slowly to ash and tries to vanish, but the eldest son reacts instantly, trapping the villain with heavy crimson chains before he can escape. Next, the mother lunges forward to strike, but his body, bloated with evil spirits, takes zero damage. Pungbaek transforms, his face warping into half-human, half-Yonghui as he curses them, swearing he will wipe out these beasts with his own hands. He unleashes his dark serpent magic, sending claws of sludge to pin the matriarch and her eldest son against the wall. Just when hope fades, the nature spirit uses its remaining strength to grab Pungbaek, trying to drag him into the flames. At that very moment, Nam, the blue ogre, snaps and attacks the villain with a barrage of devastating blows. Pungbaek breaks free and grabs Nam by the throat, sneering that a beast like him has no idea what abandonment feels like. But Gunwoo steps in, suggesting that maybe Pungbaek was also discarded like useless trash. Hearing this, the villain freezes for a split second, a fatal pause. Nam breaks free immediately. Talk about a perfect opening. At that exact Moment a glowing blue arrow pierces Peng Bayak right in the chest. It was Nara, who cobbled together a weapon using a pencil, a hair tie, and a ring. Instantly, Gunwoo capitalizes on the opening and charges up a massive thunder strike punch, slamming it straight into the villain's chest. The impact is so incredibly violent that every single Yonqui he devoured is forced completely out of his body, dissolving onto the ground. Without those spirits, Peng Bayak loses all strength, his body begins to collapse and his face starts to melt, in shock. He blames Nara for ruining everything by freeing the Dakibai and shooting that arrow. He swears he will never forget her, but the matriarch coldly warns him there won't be a next time. Desperate, Peng Bayak unleashes a wave of dark energy, causing the collapsing house becomes a massive inferno, letting the traitor escape right through the flames. Debris falls everywhere. The family searches for a way out, and Hondo finds a lead. A talisman on a refrigerator offers hope, but it is crushed instantly. A massive concrete slab crashes down, completely obliterating their only exit. Despair takes over. Their backup route, the path Ponjek used, is totally blocked by fire. Intense heat seals them inside. It really looks like this is the end, but wait. The blazing tree roots shift, slowly parting to reveal a hidden door beneath the wreckage. On the door rests another rabbit burrow talisman, offering a desperate second chance. As the glowing roots pull back, the heavy door swings open, pointing towards safety. This is the final, parting gift of the Dakibai, the guardian spirit of this home. Nara realizes he is burning through his remaining life force. She begs the spirit to flee with them, but he sadly shakes his head. His existence is bound to the sacred tree. Since the tree is dying, so is he. He grieves his failure to protect his beloved home and the family who lived here. Even so, a guardian must fulfill his duty by saving the house's very last guest. He is talking about Nara. With a final, faint whisper, the spirit begins to fade. Nara stands frozen, unable to accept this tragic end. She just cannot leave him. Sensing her painful hesitation, Nam grabs her arm and forces her toward the open portal. Nara glances back one final time, only to watch the Dakibai crumble into stardust. Grieving his death, she quickly grabs a family photo from the collapsing wall. She remembers how much the original family truly cherished their gentle guardian spirit. He was trapped there alone for 70 years. Now, Nara is flooded with deep regret. She regrets fearing him at first. Could she have saved him by being braver? They tumble through the doorway, arriving safely on the quiet slopes of Busausen. Relieved to be alive, the family tightly embraces, but something is terribly wrong. Nam and Gunwoo, who brought up the rear, are nowhere to be found. The portal likely had a strict limit on how many souls could pass through. Because of that, the missing duo has been flung somewhere completely different. Meanwhile, the two step out into a bizarrely unfamiliar place. The ruined, ash-filled house is standing perfectly intact, surrounded by a lush, green garden. Gunwoo immediately senses the heavy mystery in the air. Then, they spin around. Looking behind them, they spot a young boy clutching an old-fashioned camera. Nara freezes. She instantly recalls what the spirit mentioned about the family's last descendant. Connecting the dots, she realizes this portal didn't lead to an exit at all. It sent them straight into the past, the year 1954. The boy speaks. He asks who they are. Desperate, Nara immediately warns him about Ponjek's black snake. She tells him that Doctor is a monster. His entire family is in grave danger. The boy fiercely defends him. He insists Dr. Ponjek is a good man. He claims Ponjek is curing his mother and demands Nara stop lying. Nam whispers that no kid would believe crazy warnings from strangers. Nara gets it. She didn't believe in the Dakibai at first, either. Now she truly feels the heavy weight of the spirit's quiet despair. Nara knows that running away or hesitating won't change a thing. She must act, even without knowing if it will actually work. Refusing to back down, Nara channels her ring's power, drawing out dark energy. Power leaves the boy's chest, leaving the little photographer completely confused. Meanwhile, Poonbeek watches from afar, utterly shocked to see Nara capture and destroy the phantom with her bare hands, gently telling the young boy that many things are invisible, urging the boy to trust her, and then hands him the singed photograph she recovered, urging him to set aside his doubts and see the true warmth in people. Right then, the sinister Poonbeek begins marching directly toward them. Suddenly, the portal to the future starts to slam shut. Nam Gunwoo screams for Nara to run before she gets trapped in the past. Forever, before diving through, Nara shouts to the Dakibai trapped inside the massive tree, promising that she will return one day to set him free. The spirit is stunned by her vow. A second later, Poonbeek arrives and tears the wooden door open, finding absolutely no one. Still, Nara left behind words the Dakibai could not fully comprehend, yet they gave him endless hope, even with his body bound to the tree trunk. He endured the years, watching Gunho's happy family grow up through the glass. The boy became an incredibly talented photographer, taking beautiful pictures for his mother, who was confined to the house. He would show her blooming flowers in the yard and the bright smiles of strangers, and his mother always told him she was happy every single day. Gunho grew into a fine young man, but their joy was short-lived. First, his beloved mother passed away, and his father followed shortly after. Left entirely alone, the young man was now easy prey for the wicked Poonbeek. The desperate Dakibai wanted to protect the boy. At any cost, he chose to transfer all his spirit energy to Gunho, the final descendant of the lineage, praying the boy could flee far away and pursue his dreams. Even if the sacrifice left his own soul a completely empty shell, he did not care as long as Gunho survived. But Poonbeek smashed the camera, and before long, Gunho vanished without a single trace. A heavy silence settled over the estate, turning it into a tomb for lost joy. Decades slipped by, the wood rotted, and the grieving Dakibai sat alone, devastated that he failed to protect anyone. Tired of staring blankly into the dark, he began to wail, begging for someone to either free him from his prison or destroy him completely. Right at that agonizing moment when all hope was lost, watch this, a brilliant light suddenly pierced through the gloom. That light was actually the mystical arrow Nara had shot. Using her special thumb ring, a projectile carrying a historic promise straight from the past. To rescue them, returning to the present, Nara and Nam Gunwoo see the entire building swallowed up by raging flames. Thankfully, the destruction clears a safe path, allowing them both to escape safely. The old house is now nothing but a heap of black ashes, and even the giant tree is scorched to a crisp. Amidst the ruin, Nam Gunwoo notices a tiny glimmer, which is all that remains of the Dakibai. He is barely alive, his form incredibly tiny and fragile. Nara feels immense relief seeing him and asks if he can hear her. Nam, however, cautions that the fading spirit likely won't remember them and will soon vanish forever. Panicking, she desperately asks if there is any method to preserve him. But Nam Gunwoo explains that it is entirely impossible unless the charred tree somehow returns to life. Just then, sirens wail as the police arrive, warning the teenagers that it is incredibly dangerous to wander around an active crime scene. An officer asks if they had accidentally gotten trapped inside. An officer mentions a witness saw someone entering the property with a gas can. He asks if they saw anything, but the pair denies it. Strangely enough, the neighbors seem almost happy about the fire, complaining that the abandoned house was devaluing the entire neighborhood. They explain that the owner stubbornly refused to sell, leaving the house in this ruined state. Curious, Nara asks if the owner is still alive, but the neighbors are not sure. They reveal the owner was a famous photographer named Park Ganho, a documentary filmmaker who passed away in 2001. They donated 50,000 of his works to the local museum. With this lead, Nara and Nam Gunwoo decide to visit a farewell photography exhibition honoring Park Ganho. Nara is struck by the sudden realization that the child from her past was alive until just recently. Inside the museum, the spectral butterfly continues to guide them while Nara carries the small Dakibai spirit in her hands. The creature quietly observes the photographs, recognizing the beautiful flowers his mother loved so much, realizing that. And here is the beautiful part: the little boy from back then had fully trusted the words Nara told him. His mother always dreamed for him to step into the vast world beyond their fence, and one day he finally did. He found farmers working under the warm sun with bright smiles, and photographed them, filling his art with the heartfelt stories of everyday people. While browsing the gallery, the pair comes across a stunning photograph of a mother and her son. The little Dakibai spirit is overjoyed to see that Park Ganho truly got to experience the world out there. There is also a family portrait next to the sacred tree, making Nara proud that the child became a great artist. Nam Gunwoo, however, does not understand why she keeps calling him a. But wait, right when they think they have it figured out, a young woman approaches. Praising the pictures of the tree, she mentions it was her grandfather's favorite, which held a deeply special meaning for him. Instantly, they realize she is Park Ganho's granddaughter. The woman named Jia soon says her goodbyes and leaves. This meant that Park Ganho was not the last descendant of the family, as the spirit had believed. Upon learning that his bloodline was still alive, the Dakibai spirit finally finds peace. He smiles, content, and his body begins to break apart into tiny particles of light that settle gently into the old photograph, allowing him to return to the family he loved so much. Nara asks if he survived somehow, but Nam Gunwoo cannot say for sure. He just comments that in the end, the spirit seemed happy, peacefully trapped in a memory that was neither painful nor fleeting. Soon after, Nara receives a call from her family. They say they are perfectly fine and ask where she and her brother are. She reflects on how everything happened that day. They had taken a path they did not normally use and ended up finding the ancient Dakibai tree, escaping the trap through a different door. She wonders if it was all a coincidence or a miracle, but concludes that miracles do not come from divine aid, but from human will. Perhaps the spirits of her parents had guided her. In fact, right there in the museum, there's a photo of Nara on display with the title Benefactor. Later, Nara's family takes a bullet train to head back home. During the trip, she questions her mother about why she trusted Pong Bayak. Her mother admits that despite her suspicions, she was blinded by a quick and easy shortcut to becoming human, taking all the blame for the fallout. But Hando is still bitter, holding on to deep resentment. He was the one who desperately wanted to become human, and now he is devastated. The older brother agrees it is a major setback, but says there is nothing they can do about it now. They should just keep helping humans as usual. But the mother snaps that charity work is definitely not her style. Instead, she is already reactivating her secret accounts to set up those chat rooms again. This new secret group has one crystal clear mission, which is to find the sacred relics of Dangun and finally achieve their dream. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a dark, sinister group gathers around a glowing flask that traps restless spirits. Standing among them is Pungbayak. He asks a newly released spirit if it likes its brand new host, but the creature complains that this human shell feels like absolute trash. Another demon shrugs, telling the spirit to just go out and hunt for a better one. The spirit instantly abandons the body, eager to find a much more amusing host. It reveals its true form as the nine-tailed fox, knowing Pungbayak did not free it out of pure kindness and asks what he wants in return. Pungbayak laughs, saying it is nothing major. He just wants the fox to keep doing what it does best, sending vile spirits to hunt humans and throw the entire world into total chaos. But he issues one strict warning: do not touch the girl Lyra, because her soul belongs to him alone. Flashback to the past, where white mist swirls inside a crystal ball. Inside, faint ghostly flames flicker. A man struggles to decipher the strange voice echoing from it, but he knows this is a sacred relic of Dangun, a dangerous treasure left behind by his wife. keeping an item like this only makes them a prime target for every monster out there, but as he stands there lost in thought, his little boy suddenly gulps down the glowing crystal ball. Panic sets in as the father screams at his son to spit it out right this second. In the secluded mountains of Keoram in Gangwon province lived this father and son, isolated from the world. Little Gunwoo grew up wild, hunting beasts using his spectral energy. Possessed, one day he leaps from the very top of a tree right into his father's lap, accidentally using his energy to lightly shock him. The father asks if the boy was worried about him, but the kid shakes his head when asked what he did to pass the time. Young Gun-woo simply replies that he went swimming. Besides that, Gun-woo tells his father he also spent his time climbing trees and running all over the mountain. Worried, the father asks if he ate raw meat again, but the boy cannot say for sure. Instead, Gun-woo asks if his father managed to capture the Aonkwi, but the answer is a disappointing no. Now his father must go out hunting again, apologizing for having to leave his son alone once more with no friends around, but Gun-woo says it is okay, just asking his dad to bring back pizza when he returns. He then asks if his father is tired and if he still misses mom. The dad denies it to hide the pain, but Gun-woo knows he murmurs her name in his sleep. Curious, the boy asks why he chose her, and his father explains that true love is something you cannot control. He says she was beautiful and that he became an absolute fool the very moment he saw her. She made him believe that absolutely no one in the world could ever replace her. She was the kind of person who made him believe in a word like destiny. His father explained that destiny is something unchangeable, even if stars fall from heaven. He promised that once Jian-woo found someone like his mother, he would finally understand. To be honest, Jian-woo was not all that curious about his mother. Still, seeing his father talk about her with a bright smile made him happy. The very next day, his father got ready to head out and hunt the Yankee. Jian-woo asked why he kept hunting dangerous spirits, risking his life every single time. He wanted to know if doing this would actually turn those spirits into real humans. His father shook his head. That was not the reason. He did it because it was right. To him, living like a human was simple. You just had to love, help, and show kindness. Jian-woo, who still carried a wild, beastly side, asked if looks did not matter. His father smiled and nodded. As long as you live like a human, appearance means nothing. Thinking his father was absolutely brilliant, Jian-woo happily begged for pizza again. Before stepping out the door, his father playfully warned him that his tail was showing. Left all alone, the young boy made up his mind to live exactly like a human. He began feeding nuts to the local squirrels and giving sweet carrots to the rabbits, fully believing he was helping them out. He planned on doing the exact same thing tomorrow, but days began to bleed together. His father was still missing, despite promising to return after just 3 nights. Sure, his dad was always slightly late, but this time felt completely different. On the 5th night, a complete stranger suddenly appeared right outside his door. It was Nara's grandmother, and she mockingly noted how well he imitated humans. Catching her scent, Jian-woo instantly knew she was highly dangerous and bared his teeth. The old woman told him to calm down. She was not there to hunt him. She explained that she and his father were actually old, trusted companions. And then she softly delivered the absolute worst news possible. She offered her condolences, handing him a small urn filled with his father's ashes. It did not matter if he waited 10 nights or 100, his father was gone. Just like that, Jian-woo was left entirely alone in this cold world. Staring at the urn, he wondered if this was the cruel destiny his father mentioned. The old woman offered to take him in, promising to protect and raise him. When Jian-woo questioned her, she said his father never questioned why he helped others. Then she asked his name. She revealed his father named him Nam Jian-woo to help people in need. Back in the present, Nar notices Jian-woo is completely lost in thought. She asks what is on his mind, and he says he is just reminiscing. Suddenly, a bus out of control almost hits Nar, but Jian Wu saves her instantly. In the blink of an eye, he shows his instinct to protect others. Nar comments that he has been treating her pretty well lately, unlike that irritable boy from before. Jian Wu knows his sudden kindness is purely because of her family connection. Her grandmother saved his life. Meanwhile, elsewhere, three sinister creatures meet. Those rat-like monsters discuss their plan. One asks if his human disguise is convincing enough. The others assure him it is absolutely perfect for tricking foolish humans. But they still wonder why their boss ordered them on such a dangerous mission. Crossing paths with Peng Bei meant certain death, yet they still plan to infiltrate. The goal: steal just one of Nara's fingernails without anyone ever noticing. Inside, class is starting, but up on the roof, two students are busy kissing. Suddenly, they feel like they are being watched. The girl shrugs it off. Nobody would come up here during class time anyway, so they continue. Completely unaware of the spirit standing right there, watching their every move. A female ghost named Mia looks super irritated. To her, this is just absurd. Who does this in broad daylight? Another ghost starts teasing her about it. They start bickering. He claims Mia has never actually done that in her life, which completely sets her off. The real truth is actually much more painful. It hurts watching others experience the simple things she never could. Mia died without ever holding a boy's hand. Why is life so unfair? Through her tears, she spots Nam Gun Wu walking up the stairs, captivated. To her, he is the only bright light in this dark, miserable world. Just seeing him makes it better, but her joy is instantly ruined by Nara. Jealousy takes hold of Mia. She assumes they are dating and feels completely crushed. Her only source of happiness, violently snatched away, her life feels hopeless. To make matters worse, Nara stops right beside Mia to start a conversation. Nara notices she looks unwell and offers to help. Her kindness hurts. It feels deeply unfair that someone could be so beautiful and genuinely good. Mia remembers that it was Nara who saved her from a terrifying fox attack. Her envy grows even stronger. She decides she is just a horrible person. Someone who doesn't deserve happiness. Her life was always a sequence of pain. Her parents died in a tragic car accident, forcing her to support the family. Raising 5 younger siblings meant dropping out of school to look after them. She watched over them during the day and pulled exhausting factory shifts at night. On days off, she did odd restaurant jobs. Every second went to them. One evening, her kind boss sent her home early to finish her work. He offered to finish her work and even gave her an advance on her salary. Mia thought the world of him, especially when he praised her hard work. He paid her salary and added a nice bonus for her siblings' treats. Grateful, she noticed the young boss seemed to have something else to say. And for a fleeting moment, it felt like a real romance was actually starting. See, her life wasn't only sadness. She cherished those tiny, happy moments forever. But right when she thought happiness was close, Mia died from sheer overwork. Even in death, she couldn't stop worrying about her siblings. She simply couldn't leave this world. As a spirit, she began haunting them. Mostly to nag her youngest brother to study. That was her mission. Following him around is how she got stuck at this high school. Hearing this, Nara understood the deep love keeping Mia tied to school. Mia quietly confessed that her only escape was watching Nam Gun Wu. But the heartbreaking truth that they could never be together was just too painful. She didn't want to talk anymore. She simply turned to leave. Nara desperately tried to stop her, pleading with her to stay just a bit. At least witness her brother's graduation, but suddenly, a massive beast lunges. A rat-like monster shoves Nara down the stairs. During the fall, Mia's spirit tumbles down too. Then somehow, she slips straight into Nara's physical body. At that exact second, Jian Wu appears and reaches out a hand to help. For the love-struck spirit, seeing her crush standing right there is a total shock. For the first time ever, she can feel his skin. It is real. Her head spins with wild romantic scenarios, leaving her absolutely thrilled. Seizing her chance, Mia, now controlling Nara's body, makes her move. She starts shamelessly flirting with Jian-woo. Everyone watching is completely stunned. She admires everything about him, from his sharp jawline to the veins on his arms. She is falling deeper in love. Jian-woo, on the other hand, is completely on guard. Her highly seductive stare makes him feel incredibly awkward and uncomfortable. Wasting no time, she invites him up to the school rooftop. The classic couple's spot, Jian-woo is left speechless. Mia assumes his silence is just shyness since they aren't dating yet. So she goes full aggressive. She asks if he hates dates, then hugs him from behind. The sudden, bold back hug leaves every student watching in absolute disbelief. But Jian-woo is furious and deeply embarrassed, instantly pushing her away. He storms out immediately. Mia stands there, totally confused. She thought guys loved this stuff. In all her romance webtoons, the male lead always fell for it. Apparently, real life hits different. Nara's friends rush over, demanding to know what is wrong with her. But Mia knows she's on a clock. Once Nara wakes up, the ride is over. She has to make Jian-woo fall for her before this day ends. Meanwhile, Jian-woo sits on the roof, desperately trying to calm down. He is so embarrassed his secret beast tail almost pops out in public. He wonders why she acted so touchy. He knows something is off. And yet a tiny part of him liked the closeness. Maybe she really likes him. Elsewhere, the three rat monsters gather, complaining loudly. They couldn't get a single piece of Nara because she was glued to Jian-woo all day. The boss said do not touch Nara, but he said nothing about the guy. So they make a plan. To get her, they'll devour Jian-woo first. Later at home, Mia collapses onto the bed, inside Nara's body. Even though she didn't seal the deal, she's absolutely exhausted but happy. It was a fantastic day. Still, she can't shake the feeling she missed her chance. Before leaving Nara's body, she decides to help her change clothes. Opening the closet, she spots a strange rabbit-shaped amulet. To her absolute surprise, she discovers a hidden passage leading somewhere. Curious, she steps through and comes out on the other side. She finds Jian-woo fast asleep in his own bed. She is utterly baffled by how their rooms are connected. They live together seriously, talk about a golden opportunity. Without thinking twice, she slips into his room and crawls onto his bed. Seeing him so close makes her heart race, but she pushes forward. She climbs right on top of him, aiming to steal a quick kiss. But Jian-woo is not actually asleep. He sensed her. He had sensed her there all along, merely faking sleep to see what she would try next. The second her face leaned in close, his eyes snapped open, his hand blocking the kiss. A crimson glare burned in his eyes as he grabbed Nara by the face. In a terrifying voice, he demanded to know who she was, knowing this was not Nara. Furious at the fake, he forced the spirit to confess. He threatened to completely destroy the ghost if she did not leave Nara's body. Terrified, Mia argued that hurting her would only end up injuring Nara's physical body. But he did not hesitate, unleashing a surge of energy that forced the ghost out. Shamed, Mia apologized and fled even as Gun-woo ordered her to halt. Terrified of his power, she vanished into thin air. He was absolutely furious. Yet his rage only flared because this was not the real Nara standing there. Had it actually been Nara, his reaction might have been completely different. Gun-woo desperately tries to wake Nara, but she remains completely unresponsive. Seeing her peaceful face, he knows the possessing spirit is finally gone. Meanwhile, floating in a dreamlike astral plane, Nara feels incredibly warm and safe. She feels like she is touching soft fur when a distant voice calls out. The voice calls for Munchie, suddenly snapping Nara back into her own body. She wakes up at home, remembering almost nothing of what happened yesterday. But she is horrified to learn that Mia used her body to seduce Gun-woo. The revelation leaves her totally shocked, while the ghost begs for forgiveness. Dying of embarrassment, Nara asks if anything actually happened between them. Gun-woo reassures her that nothing did, but Nara still cannot forgive the ghost. Yoon-woo steps in, declaring they cannot let a possessing spirit roam free. He offers to help her pass peacefully to the other side, but Mia refuses. She desperately explains that she must stay to watch her little brother grow up. Nara tries to defend her, pointing out how much Mia worried about her sibling. She had a brutally hard life, raising her family all on her own. But Yoon-woo remains completely unmoved, refusing to excuse the spirit's behavior. To him, her actions were entirely wrong, no matter how good her intentions were. This was not just about some kiss, but forcing her will upon someone else. Suddenly, shouting draws their attention to the schoolyard outside. An old man, the school principal, is furiously chewing out a student. He is yelling at the student, Kim Suk-woo, for smoking on campus. Recognizing the boy as her brother, Mia gasps. Nara is instantly outraged. Angry that the kid does not appreciate his sister's sacrifices, Nara marches over. She slaps the cigarette right out of his hand, completely shocking everyone nearby. Calling him an idiot, she tells him how much his sister worries. The boy looks stunned, but then Mia frantically points at the old principal. It turns out the principal is actually her brother, leaving Nara completely mortified. Talk about an awkward misunderstanding. She got the whole thing entirely wrong. Mia was actually just worried about the bald principal dressing too warmly. The principal suddenly confesses that he still feels his sister's lingering presence. Her voice gave him the strength to raise their family and build a life. A wave of relief washes over everyone, seeing he grew up well. With the heartwarming closure, they head back inside, but things are far from over. Seeing Nara asleep, he wonders if he should carry her to bed, but ends up just lying beside her. Lying right there next to her, he hesitates, almost resting his hand on top of hers. But he pulls back. Even in her deep sleep, Nara keeps muttering the name Munchie. Munchie, and as she sleeps, a strange, dark story begins to slowly unfold in her mind. It is the tale of the Rat Utopia experiment, a project meant to build a perfect paradise. But as the population grew, behavior shifted. The strongest rats seized absolutely everything. Leaving the weak isolated, the rats grew tired of competing with each other. Many became incredibly violent, causing their perfect society to completely collapse. Even as things improved, the surviving rats cared only about their own survival. They had zero interest in anyone else. Finally, the experiment was shut down. It stopped just before total destruction, but the grim lesson was already clear. This brutal competition connects directly to what is happening inside Nara's classroom. She gets a test paper back and is horrified to see a score of 40 points. Her friends got high marks, leaving Nara feeling completely disheartened and hopeless. She starts questioning if she even has a chance of getting into college now. Suddenly, she overhears her friends whispering, criticizing her behind her back. They call her lazy, but when Nara confronts them, they quickly deny saying anything. Then they turn around with glowing red eyes, cruelly mocking her academic failure. Her friends claim she will never match them, just as a rat-like man appears. He announces a new experiment, plunging the school into darkness as number 1 marks Nara's back. A blackboard notice suddenly announces a deadly game of hide and seek with a killer. Nam Gun-woo shows up next, marked with number 2. Nara's friends are totally lost. Marked with numbers 3 and 4, they assume they are just in a theme park. But looking outside, they realize they are trapped in a massive, unfamiliar city of buildings. Spotting someone ahead, the girls decide to approach them to ask for directions. To their horror, the man is a terrifying monster with wild eyes and an axe. The killer tells them to hide well before lunging, sending them running in sheer panic. Meanwhile, Gun-woo is surrounded by 3 horrific rat beasts looking for a meal. Without a single second of hesitation, he launches a brutal counterattack. With one powerful punch, he drops the first beast before dodging the second. He delivers a massive blow that sends it flying straight into the third monster. Within seconds, all three beasts are down on the concrete, under Gun Wu's cold glare. But as they struggle, they screech out for a creature called the Tattered One. Witnessing Gun Wu's absurd strength, the remaining rat men scream for help. They yell that he needs to be eaten immediately, and a giant silhouette appears. A massive, stitched-together monster steps forward, looking like it's made of old cloth. It coldly thanks them for the food, and to Gun Wu's shock, eats a nearby rat man. Striking first, Gun Wu unleashes a heavy spectral punch right into its soft belly. But the monster's stomach warps into a bizarre spiral, completely swallowing his fist. An instant later, a devastating counterblow slams directly into Gun Wu's chest. The force sends him crashing hard into a nearby wall, seizing the moment. Grabbing him by the hand, the beast hoists him up high and slams him down onto the concrete. It asks if he has ever died before, opening its massive jaws to swallow him whole. But Gun Wu just smiles, asking if it really wants to eat him that badly. As the creature opens wide, he drives a high-voltage punch straight down its throat. That heavy blow completely shatters the monster's body, and suddenly from within, thousands of squirming rats pour out. Gun Wu realizes this is a massive nest. Elsewhere in this creepy school, our female lead Nara is hiding inside an empty classroom as four armed rat monsters search for her. Terrified, what are these beasts? Then she spots another girl hiding. The stranger whispers to keep quiet, but it is too late. A beast climbs up. It steps onto a desk, searching for her, and instantly spots her. Terrified, it lunges to attack, but Nara barely manages to dodge the blow. But the other rat monsters are closing in fast. That is when the helper grabs her hand and they bolt. Nara asks who on earth these creatures are. And the girl explains they are flesh-eating beasts born from human fingernails. They scramble up the stairs, only to find the exit completely blocked by a heavy locker. To make matters worse, dozens of armed rat men appear. Right behind them, completely cornered, what can they even do now? Holding a small axe, the girl tells Nara to stay close to the railing. She slices the rope, holding the lockers at the top of the stairs. The heavy furniture crashes down, burying the beasts and scattering their weapons. Seizing the distraction, the girl pulls out a key with a cute rabbit charm to unlock a secret locker, urging Nara to follow her inside right away. Nara squeezes into the narrow locker and begins to crawl through the gap. The secret passage leads them straight to a hidden safe house. The girl explains the monsters do not know this spot exists. She is Kim Huna. She tells Nara that she was dragged into this nightmare exactly 1 month ago. Waking up in this hellhole, she quickly realized it is just a giant rat hole, where humans are treated like lab rats. Huna reveals 30 people were brought here. But almost everyone has been brutally hunted down and eaten by the beasts. They keep bringing in new victims like Nara to this living hell. All run by Games, the Rat King, meanwhile back with Gun Wu. He is busy interrogating a surviving rat man, no mercy here. The creature explains they are all fighting in a deadly survival game. To reach the throne, Gun Wu asks what is waiting for them there, and the beast gasps that it is absolute power for the winner. Plus, the only way out of this hell is right above that throne. Gun Wu gets the picture. To escape, he has to take down the king. Simple, right? So he casually orders the trembling rat man to lead him to Game. Walking through the dark, Gun Wu notices a strict military hierarchy among them. Suddenly, Game steps out of the dark, the Rat King himself. He sneers that rats can never be trusted, they always betray you. Gun Wu immediately locks eyes with him. Game begins to introduce himself. But Gun Wu instantly cuts him off with a brutal punch to the face. Bam. But out of the king's split cheek, a swarm of rats suddenly erupts. Crawling up Gun Wu's arm, Game sneers that the boy is too weak. Just another pathetic lab rat, when Gun Wu grinds his teeth and demands to know why. Game reveals he only desires what belongs to others. He wants it all. And right now, he is extremely curious about what makes Nara so special. Hearing her name, Jian Wu struggles against the swarming rats, desperately asking if Nara is safe. Gam confirms the experiment on the girl has already begun. Desperate to witness his deepest inner darkness, Gam wonders what cruel fate awaits the boy. The rats swarm to devour him, but Jian Wu screams in pure, explosive rage. "Get off me," he yells, and instantly his aura turns pitch black. The rats recoil, his mind is pulled back to his childhood home. Inside the old house, he stands face to face with his long-lost father. His father smiles, seemingly happy he returned, and Jian Wu admits how much he missed him. But his father's warm smile fades, coldly telling him he will always be completely alone. This fake father brutally reminds Jian Wu why they had to hide deep in the mountains. He claims Jian Wu only brings misery to everyone close. Just like the poor old woman who was brutally killed right in front of his eyes. He was entirely helpless to save her. While Jian Wu suffers, Nara and Huna hide. The girls hide in a silent bathroom, wondering if they can leave. But they know the monsters roaming outside are heartless, terrifying killers. Suddenly, a nearby stall door slowly creaks open, triggering instant, absolute panic. Holding their breath, they watch someone enter the next stall. Spotting feet under the door, they desperately hope it is a human. Instead, a terrifying ratman peers through the crack, asking if anyone is hiding inside. A terrifying scream echoes through the room as they are discovered. Instantly, a rat woman hears them and slides open a box cutter. 6 armed rat women quickly surround the stall, demanding they come out. Meanwhile, Nara watches the security cameras from another room in shock. Brace yourselves because she is about to watch her friends Sujin and Ayami face certain death. Beside her, Huna uses this tense moment to make a cynical comment. She asks if Nara really considers them friends in this game. In the end, only one person can sit on the throne and escape alive. Alliances in this brutal survival game are just cheap lies to save yourself. Though friendship means nothing here, Nara refuses to believe that. She believes the monsters are just testing their loyalty, Huna warns her. Even with Huna insisting they stay in the bunker, Nara completely ignores her. Armed with only a ruler and a pencil, Nara decides she will fight. Huna calls her a fool, reminding her that only a single person survives. But Nara fires back, she will save everyone and go home together. Elsewhere, Jian Wu remains trapped in Gam's brutal psychological torment. The Rat King cruelly toys with his painful memories of his grandmother. Gam knows his biggest weakness is the paralyzing fear of being alone. The same crushing pain he felt when his family left him. The king calls him a selfish coward, helping others only because he fears isolation. Jian Wu screams in denial, desperately trying to block out the voice. As he screams, pitch-black shadows and sharp thorns erupt around him. Gam feeds on this negative energy, peering deep inside Jian Wu's soul. Hoping to expose the weak, pathetic nature all humans hide, he peers closer. Instead, the Rat King is shocked to find a giant, chained wolf. Suddenly, the spirit of Jian Wu's father appears, telling Gam to stop. Those sharp thorns are actually his son's desperate attempt to stay human. The Rat King does not care. He shatters the spikes, freeing the beast. The seal is broken, and the giant savage wolf is unleashed. He attacks brutally, tearing off half of the Rat King's spiritual form. Jin Wu was not hiding his nature, he had completely locked it away. Now that monster is free, Jin Wu's vision cracks as he falls. He crashes to the ground, fully transformed into a savage wolf hybrid. In this beast form, he attacks the Rat King without mercy. Brutal punches crush his body, but the dying ruler starts laughing. He mocks Jin Wu, saying he looks exactly like a monster, before Jin Wu strikes. One final blow makes the enemy explode, leaving nothing but destroyed remains. Thousands of rats swarm out, and the true king's chilling voice echoes. He warns that the beast is now driven purely by survival instincts. The Rat King offers a twisted invitation as stitched rag dolls appear. The king urges him to go wild, and fully embrace his nature. Let the strong devour the weak, Jin Woo gladly accepts. Smiling wildly, the wolf boy begins ripping the stitched dolls to shreds. He wants revenge for his grandmother. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, absolute desperation, rat women hold Sujin and Aomsi by their hair. They prepare to eat them, but at the last second an arrow strikes. One monster falls, Nara appears and challenges the others to fight. She runs to lure the remaining 3 beasts into a deadly trap. They chase her blindly, running ahead without a single second thought. The beasts plunge off the building. Sujin and Aomsi watch, completely amazed. Nara hugs her friends, relieved, but one of them remembers something. Nara risked everything for them, but wait, this actually triggers a pretty dark memory. They saw Huna, the girl close to Nara, ready to jump from the roof. Instead of helping her, they just pulled out their cameras and took pictures. Their friendship was a total lie. Now Nara says escape is upstairs. To make it out alive, they must reach the top floor. But Huna is suspicious, believing everyone will eventually turn on each other. She actually considers returning to her safe hiding spot to avoid getting hurt. Even after all of that, Nara reaches out, offering to escape together. Just as she extends her hand, Huna screams a sudden warning. A terrifying, tattered monster is creeping up right behind Nara. Suddenly, an entire pack of beasts swarms in, ready to eat them. But in the blink of an eye, a dark shadow slices the first creature in half. The wolf man is back, clearing the room with claws and lightning. The girls freeze in terror, stunned by his sheer power. Nara in particular is completely stunned, unable to recognize him. Their dread spikes as the wolf man steps toward them. He prepares a devastating attack, ready to strike them down. He looks at Nara like she is a blinding light, making her scream in absolute terror. She yells the name Jin Woo, without even knowing why she said it. Hearing his name instantly freezes the beast, and he pulls her close. With the beast finally awake, the Rat King watches from a distance. Frustrated, he expected the monster to follow its brutal instincts and destroy Nara. For a terrifying second, it looks like it will actually happen. During their embrace, Gun Woo's massive body begins to tremble with rage. And his sharp claws pierce Nara's back, making her scream. Seeing this, Huna deeply regrets following her. The boy is a monster, Nara screams out. Begging Gun Woo to get a hold of himself, in the midst of his fury, he finally recognizes her. The beast releases Nara, handing her back to her companions. Seeing Nara's blood staining his own hands, Gun Woo is overcome with intense regret. In his mind, everything fades to black except Nara, who glows with blue. Desperate not to be left alone, he follows as the girls run up stairs. Huna screams for the beast to stay away, but her brave friends notice he is no longer aggressive, only sad. The girls continue their desperate climb. Suddenly, several hostile rat men block their path on the stairs. They brace to fight, but before Nara can draw her bow, Gun Woo rushes past them. Fueled by pure rage, he attacks the monsters, brutally destroying them all. Stunned by this sudden rescue, Huna decides not to question things and leads the group upward. The Rat King finds the wolf's wild nature deeply amusing, like a fun new toy, yet vows to destroy him eventually. Finally, they reach the rooftop, discovering their only escape route is a climb toward the throne of ultimate power. Suddenly, a classmate recognizes Huna and introduces himself as number 18, telling Nara this is his third desperate attempt to survive, offering his help, but their quick conversation is suddenly cut short when Gun Woo arrives, glaring hatefully at the boy, who flees in terror. Right then, the Rat King appears before the crowd, announcing the start of the final test. The game is simple. The first to sit on the throne wins. He claims that hard work never betrays you, and the victor takes everything. With the starting signal, Gun Woo in his savage wolf form begins climbing determinedly toward the throne. The other survivors, seeing that he is drawing the wrath of hundreds of rat men, use this distraction to advance. They start climbing in a mad rush as the monsters begin their feast. Swarming all the competitors, completely alone, Gun-woo bravely faces the massive horde. Unleashing devastating lightning strikes with insane speed, he obliterates dozens of beasts. Instantly clearing a path, amazed by his godly power, other players seize. This chance, Huna and the other girls also seize the moment to climb. Everyone fights with everything they have to get home, but the danger is lethal. Amidst the pure chaos, one player is grabbed by two rat men and brutally slaughtered. His desperate journey ends here, completely finished off by the vicious monsters. Meanwhile, two other beasts lunge toward another small group of frantic survivors. Two friends brace to fight. One says he will take the beast on the right, leaving his buddy to handle the left. However, in a moment of pure cowardice, one shoves his friend straight into the monsters. To save himself, the betrayed boy screams that the traitor wearing the cap won't survive this nightmare. Left all alone, the boy in the red cap regrets his panic, remembering the quiet world before this whole hell began. Seriously, he really should have just walked past that parked motorcycle with the keys in. He only wanted the absolute thrill of riding it, nothing else. Now there is absolutely nothing left but the tragic reality of his terrible motorcycle crash. While his former friend is torn apart by the rat men, this terrified boy just keeps climbing up, crying out because he desperately wants his parents. He just wants home, but an axe flies, ending his life. The watching students, including Kim Hyuna and Nara, are completely frozen in absolute terror. At the top, a bald man holding the axe warns them. No passing. Anyone who even tries to get past him will be immediately and brutally eliminated. Stay below, do not even try to climb up to him. Two rivals step up to threaten him, but the bald man just laughs in their face. Come up, he challenges. Blinded by rage, one climbs up. He screams that he will make it out alive, but Nara knows everyone is mad. She had hoped that by working together, they could escape and maybe become friends. That hope dies. The bald man kills the competitor instantly. Cooperation is dead. It is no longer an option. Kim Hyuna sighs deeply. This is exactly why she refused to climb up to the throne. Extreme situations always change people. Psychos like him always appear. According to her, even the most level-headed people completely lose control when they become desperate. This place is hell. Desperation brings out the worst. The bald man sneers down at them, asking if any of these cowards actually wants to face him. The others shrink back. He scoffs at their obvious fear. Stand still and watch me win, he sneers, promising to kill everyone who betrayed him. He vows that once he escapes, he will brutally slaughter everyone who ratted him out to the cops. Just then, the wolf man, Nam Gunwoo, appears silently behind him. One punch, he instantly sends the bald man flying back. Everyone is in total shock because that strike was unbelievably powerful, completely shattering the silence. To Gunwoo, it was weak. To them, he is a monster. He remembers the fox's warning that humans will always look at him with pure horror. They hate what they do not understand, but Nara is different. But to him, her inner soul is beautiful, shining like a brilliant light in the darkness. She recognizes him. No matter the form, she calls his name. The wild wolf inside Nam Gunwoo growls, desperately wanting to continue hunting the rat men. But Nam Gunwoo fights for control. He wants to use his power. He wants to use his immense strength to protect and love others, just as his father taught. He looks like a fierce wolf, but on the inside, he is still himself. As he shifts back into his human form, the remaining students instantly recognize his familiar face. Hold on a bit longer, he begs. Nara takes her stance. She positions herself to guard their friends, while Nam Gunwoo charges forward to destroy the Rat King. The Game Master mockingly congratulates Nam Gunwoo on his win. The master tells him this is all just a silly game, so he should just take the throne. Nam Gunwoo does not care. Rules mean nothing to him. His target is the king trapping innocent people. He declares that game's sick little pastime ends right now. But Game just smiles. This place is merely a reflection of humanity. Of hatred where it is kill or be killed, the monster explains he was born during the Korean War, growing strong by feeding on the malice of the dying, and that he now devours the souls of defeated challengers, claiming there is nothing sweeter than a soul drenched in pure malice. Enraged, Gunwoo calls him a demon and demands he come down to fight. The Rat King only laughs, saying the truth. Demons are the humans who never stop fighting and hating. Then he unleashes a massive wave of rats upon Gunwoo. However, the young fighter refuses to fall for the same trick twice, unleashing an electric punch that blasts the creatures away. Immediately after, he lands a devastating kick right to Game's face. Followed by a powerful thunder strike to his chest, Gunwoo does not stop there, delivering a flurry of rapid punches until Game's body begins to bubble like boiling sludge. The Rat King flies into a rage, asking if playtime is finally over. As he reveals his true form, a colossal nightmare of black sludge. With a horribly deformed face, Game screams that human hypocrisy built him, pretending to be good while hiding their inner ugliness. With a deafening roar, he attacks with giant tentacles, and the very first blow slams directly into Gunwoo. Meanwhile, Nara watches the struggle, terrified that Gunwoo is fighting entirely alone. He took a brutal hit, but she has no time to watch. She spots a ratman about to execute another competitor. Without hesitation, she saves his life by releasing one of her sharp, spectral arrows. The boy quickly thanks her, but Kim Huna immediately snaps at her to stay focused. There is no time to help rivals who are ahead of them. Nara replies that she simply cannot stand by and watch another human being get eliminated. Right then, another student saves Huna from a surprise attack from behind. Nara tells Huna to practice what she preaches. Honestly, Huna never wanted to climb this high. She is absolutely terrified, knowing this stage is a deeper hell than anything else. Yet, seeing Huna push through her fear gives Nara the courage to keep fighting by her side. Suddenly, a shout echoes from the top. A boy stands on the structure, claiming he reached the throne first, and proclaims himself the victor. Nara recognizes him instantly. He is the same kid she just saved from those vicious beasts. She instantly regrets helping him, wishing she had just pretended not to see his desperate cries for help. That heavy frustration seems to fill the entire chamber with a dark, toxic energy. The other competitors burn with intense jealousy and rage seeing him claim victory. Some even consider throwing him off, and honestly, can you blame them? Just watch. A hooded figure suddenly emerges and shoves the arrogant boy right off the throne. Seeing her chance, Huna screams that they can still make it to the top. Spurred on, Nara starts running as well, but then she abruptly stops. She wonders why she is running so desperately. Is that hole in the sky truly their only escape? What lies on the other side? Who designed this entire cruel game? Suddenly she glances to the side and sees Gunwoo in massive trouble. He is taking a severe beating from Game, the colossal sludge monster. The giant beast is completely relentless. The monster leaps onto him, roaring that he is the ruler here, before stomping down with devastating force, crushing Gunwoo. Deep inside him, his inner wolf speaks up, warning that he cannot win this alone, but Gunwoo's stubborn pride refuses to give in. Using his own strength, he focuses spiritual energy into his foot to blast one of the monster's legs completely apart, but the beast instantly regenerates. It kicks him away again as Game boasts that he is completely invincible here. This place is overflowing with dark human emotions. Meanwhile, Gunwoo's inner wolf reprimands him for denying its existence, explaining that they both exist together like waves in the same sea. Within them lies a sacred relic, the Thunderwolf. The beast tells him to wield the dark spirit's power, just like the ancient hero Pong Baek once did. Hearing this, Gunwoo finally understands. He confesses he was hiding his own darkness, terrified of being consumed by it, but now he accepts it as part of himself, following the wolf's Advice: he unleashes the relic's absolute power with a brutal punch. That single blow completely obliterates Game's monstrous form. Seeing this, the other competitors freeze in their tracks to watch as the Rat King begins to disintegrate inside his own domain. Gunwoo calmly declares the game is over. Game screams in fury that he will regenerate, but as he tries to escape, a massive fissure splits the space around them. Nara realizes the darkness around this fissure is identical to the dark energy she saw when she was trapped inside the fox. Right then, a sudden realization hits her. They are trapped inside the Rat King's soul, a theory confirmed when they spot Game's real body on the ground, retching and sick, spitting up fluids inside a strange ritual circle. Nara quickly grabs a pencil and a rubber band, utilizing her thumb ring to craft a makeshift bow, the same clever trick she used to escape the fox. If her theory is correct, that hole is not their only exit. Honestly, her quick thinking here is absolute gold. Just like Gunwoo did, while he frantically digs through the fallen beasts. Gross slime for something, Nara aims and shoots the pencil directly at the crack. It hits the target perfectly and begins to glow. Out in the real world, the Rat King's body glows as he screams in pure agony. Soon, the entire domain starts to collapse. Furious that his realm is crumbling, Game charges straight at Nara, but Gunwoo seizes the opening, landing a devastating knee strike on the monster, who is left utterly weakened and falls powerless to the ground. Gunwoo tells him their game is finally starting as they face off for the ultimate showdown. Meanwhile, the other students struggle to survive the chaos. The tower is falling apart and everyone is fighting just to stay on their feet. Suddenly, Nara notices something incredible. The crumbling structure isn't just collapsing, it is transforming into a safe path. She shouts that everyone can get out alive if they follow it. Hyuna hesitates, terrified to move, but Nara firmly grabs her hand and promises they will escape together. Hearing this suddenly sends Hyuna into complete shock, dragging her deep into a memory of her past. She remembers how lonely she was back in school until a girl named A reached out. I was everything Hyuna was not: beautiful, smart, and popular. They shared similar tastes and quickly became extremely close. Thanks to A's bright personality, they formed a tight friend group with A always at the center of attention. Hyuna felt a mix of intense admiration and envy. She wanted to be just like her, desperately wanting to beat her at something just once. That day arrived when the teacher handed back their test results. Hyuna scored an incredible 99, placing first in class while A's grades had surprisingly dropped. It turned out A. She snapped, and right then, the other girls started freezing Hyuna out. Their cruel isolation grew worse daily. Every single time she tried to bring up a boy in conversation, they completely ignored her. They made it crystal clear she was out. The left-out feeling grew. More conversations went silent when she walked up. She was completely alone. The overthinking began. What had she possibly done wrong? Why would they treat her like this? Her anxiety exploded. The breaking point hit. She was hiding in the bathroom. She overheard them laughing, claiming she copied everything girl wore, and how she acted, spreading rumors that she was only popular through association. It shattered her. In pure panic, Hyuna began clawing at her own skin. The actual truth: her mother bought that outfit completely by accident. She never meant to copy anyone. At home, she tore it up. She ripped the jacket apart, begging her mother to throw it away. Her mother worried, asking if she was bullied. Hyuna just snapped. Baffled by her rage, her mother asked about her grades. Grades? Are grades really more important than my actual feelings? She screamed it out. No friends left. She was now completely broken. She broke down, slamming her head against the wall. Her mother held her, promising she would find real friends in college, but it was too late. The next day, Girl A pointedly asked about her bruised face. Hyuna swallowed her pride. She apologized, begging to know her mistake. Girl A smiled. She suggested resolving things in a group chat. But it was a total setup. The instant Hyuna joined, the abuse poured in. They called her clueless, annoying, they hated even hanging out with her. Even their fun karaoke day was rewritten as a total disaster. Each nasty comment cut like a knife, real physical pain. Her straight-A grades plummeted, she simply could not focus anymore. Blaming herself for everything, she slowly headed up to the school rooftop. She wanted to end it, she wondered why nobody would help. Suddenly, a hand shoved her from behind, pushing her over the edge. Branded with a giant number 0, she began her terrifying fall. But falling, Huna regretted everything. She did not want to die. Not like this. Suddenly, we snap back to the grim game reality. Huna clings tightly to Nara's hand, being hoisted up to safety. The main character yells to hold tight. The exit is right there. Other students pull her up. This warmth gives Huna a reason to live. After the hell she faced, she finally has a purpose to fight. Meanwhile, the shattered boss monster, Gum, claims the game is over. But Nam Yun-woo refuses to stop. He is not done yet. He vows to obliterate this place so nobody else gets hurt. Lightning crackles in his hand as he summons the massive Thunder Wolf. It disintegrates the beast completely, tearing the entire arena apart. Under Nam Yun-woo's attack, the tower crumbles, total chaos erupts. A greedy survivor runs for the floating throne, loudly screaming his victory. But their celebration is cut short as the entire dimension begins to crumble. A massive black hole is swallowing everything, and they desperately hold on for dear life. Hyuna is filled with hope, believing she can finally escape this living hell. She remembers her mother's words, choosing to hang on just a bit longer. She wants to survive and make things right, refusing to simply give up. But at the last second, a rat man appears and strikes her from behind. He swings his axe, sending Hyuna crashing down despite Nara's desperate attempt to hold her. Hyuna sighs that she really has no luck, as Nara desperately begs her to stay. It is too late, and with her final breath, Hyuna apologizes to her mother. Grateful for the warmth of Nara's hand, her soul finally drifts away. Nara screams in sheer disbelief as the void continues to consume everything around them. She reaches out to grab Hyuna's departing soul in the middle of the chaos. She only catches a tiny fragment of it before everything completely vanishes. Suddenly, the students wake up back in the real world, but Nara is different. She holds a glowing fragment of Hyuna's soul, proof that this was no dream. Right in front of her, the spirit of her departed friend gently appears to her. Hyuna whispers that in another lifetime, they could have met somewhere peaceful and become close. They could have shared secrets and laughed together if destiny had not been so cruel. Tears stream down Nara's face as she cries out that they are already friends. With a soft thank you, Hyuna's spirit dissolves completely into thin air. Soon, Jaehyun-woo rushes into the hospital room to find Nara sobbing uncontrollably. She weeps, telling him that her friend did not make it out of there alive. The crushing guilt of being the sole survivor eats away at her soul. Jaehyun-woo holds her tight, gently repeating that none of this is her fault. He knows this heavy pain too well. They are the exact words he needed to hear. Back when his grandmother passed away, he felt that same devastating loneliness. Determined to protect Nara from that empty feeling, he tries to carry her burden. But as he comforts her, a dark memory of a savage beast man flashes. Why is this Pungbaek targeting Nara? He silently vows to keep her safe. No matter the cost, he will never let Pungbaek lay a hand on her. To protect her, he is willing to abandon his own humanity and turn beast. He will throw away everything he has left, meanwhile, in another location entirely. The boy who sat on the throne celebrates, thinking he has won the game. But suddenly, he finds himself in a completely deserted city, wondering where he is. Before him lies a massive warehouse of weapons and a strange new poster. The poster promises a job to the victor of a brand new survival game. Realizing he has to endure that nightmare again, he falls to his knees crying. He collapses to the dirt in despair. Elsewhere, the Rat Man chief Gom Meanwhile, Gom is experiencing immense physical agony, and he is absolutely furious. The wolf who wrecked his hideout and almost took his life will pay. Gom demands to know who let the beast in, but his followers deny everything. Yet one subordinate stays quiet, instantly painting a massive target on his back. Cruel as always, Gom begins executing his own men one by one. Just then the true traitor sheds his disguise, a cunning, wicked fox. He casually confesses that he was the one who threw the boy into the arena. Barely controlling his transformation, he cannot risk it, so the wolf will serve. As a temporary obstacle, he hopes the huntress's offspring can survive until he regains his full strength. Far away, Peng Bayak stands in a completely ruined wasteland, surrounded by bodies and creeping darkness. A giant spirit, the god of calamity, demands that Peng Bayak fulfill his promise and open the passage. Immediately, if he complies, the god promises to turn the land of Danan into a true living hell. Peng Bayak agrees, claiming that no matter how often he saves humans, they never change. Driven by greed, they become mere insects, entirely not worth saving. He declares he will cleanse the corrupted land and start everything anew, becoming the Dangun of a new world. To achieve this, he needs to gather more of the evil spirits, but all of this was just a prophetic dream of the beast family matriarch. Looking out her window, she understands that a spirit sent her this warning. Suddenly, the crow spirit appears urgently, begging her to stop Peng Bayak. He reveals the villain is harvesting souls from living humans to summon the god of calamity. The woman is deeply shocked, wondering how anyone could do something so terrible. The scene then shifts to a bus carrying Hondo, the middle son of the beast family. Nearby, some girls on the bus notice how incredibly handsome he is, and one stares at him intently. Soon, Hondo notices and gets annoyed, but not with her. He is angry at an Aonkwi, a deformed slime creature lurking inside the vehicle. Suddenly, other evil spirits begin to swarm the surrounding cars. In a flash, another bus violently crashes into theirs, throwing passengers everywhere and causing a horrific accident. Hondo is badly hurt. In the chaos, the Aonkwi attacks, devouring the souls of the helpless victims. Hondo realizes that someone caused this on purpose, purely to harvest these souls. Talk about cruel. A mysterious woman watches from the shadows, telling the spirits to feast to their heart's content. After all, living human souls are everywhere, from inside the wreckage. Hondo flashes back to his painful past in a cold pigsty, wishing it were a dream. He wakes up. A young woman rushes to help him, relieved he is alive. She tells him she called for emergency services, but nobody is doing anything. Hondo stands up, realizing he can still move. He spots an Aonkwi devouring several souls and warns the girl that they must escape this dangerous place immediately. Helping her to her feet despite her injured leg, he prepares to run. At that exact moment, an evil spirit rips her soul clean out of her body. The girl's spirit is terrified, about to be swallowed by the monster, but before the beast can strike, Hondo creates a glowing energy barrier from his radiant aura. Saving her life, two new barriers appear. They crush and explode the monster completely. Now on the spiritual plane, she realizes countless other monsters surround them. A massive slime beast charges, but Hondo slices it in half with another sharp barrier. He shields her from yet another incoming attack. Thoroughly annoyed that such hideous creatures dare to cause trouble in his presence, in a panic, she asks if she is dead or dreaming. Hondo gently places a hand on her head to calm her, whispering that it is only a dream. Then he pushes her soul back into her body, telling her to treat it all as a nightmare that will quickly pass. Hearing those exact words suddenly sparks a deep memory of her brother, who he once told her the exact same comforting lie, that nightmares eventually pass, but this was something she could never truly forget. Hondo then steps off the bus, telling her to wait inside since the streets are crawling with monsters. Outside, he faces something far more terrifying, the Yonqui summoner herself. She senses he is special for surviving that crash. She taunts him, saying he will learn her dark motives right before he dies. She absolutely loves devouring her prey. Hondo feels her crushing, massive aura. He has zero chance of winning. No way he can win. He plots an escape, but the woman warns him that she absolutely hates losing her meals, telling Hondo not to run. She warns him that if she gets angry, every human nearby dies. Right then, several giant black claws erupt from her back, exposing her monster form. Hondo is completely stunned by her sheer audacity to expose herself in broad daylight, and warns her that the elite hunters will finish her, but she only smiles, telling him that would actually make things much easier by saving her the tiresome trouble of tracking them down. That is when she reveals her ultimate trap. They are all already caught inside her massive spiderweb. Instantly, a giant crater tears open and the ground shakes. In the ground, as a sudden, violent earthquake begins to rip everything apart, nearby cars are swallowed by the rapidly expanding crater. Inside the bus, the girl and other people, and the others are sucked into the deep abyss. Hondo desperately struggles to hold on, but the pull is just too overpowering, and Hondo is dragged straight into the dark void. The few on the surface look down into what looks like a bottomless pit. In one quick, terrifying blink, every single human within her web completely vanishes. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kim Huna's condition grows critical. The soul fragments that Nara rescued are rapidly slipping away. Her hospital room is filled with dread. Doctors warn her mother to prepare for the worst, but she is still alive, trapped inside Game's mind, tormented by relentless nightmares. Knowing this, Nara is fueled by raw, burning determination. She makes a silent promise to rescue her friend, whatever the cost. News of the disaster spreads like wildfire. Media reports a massive crater tore open the busy intersection at 9 a.m., swallowing 92 citizens. Complete chaos at the scene as frantic families search for relatives while firefighters launch a dangerous rescue mission. Descending with ropes and flashlights, they find the deep pit terrifying. Reaching the bottom, 102 meters down, the team uncovers an absolute mystery. The entire place is totally, eerily empty. No bodies, no crushed vehicles, absolutely nothing. The only things left are thick spiderwebs and a structure resembling an ancient temple. Far away, the protagonist's family of hunters gathers to discuss the situation. The matriarch, their proud leader, believes this is where the real chaos begins. When Nam Gunwoo limps in, she tells him to rest, but he worries about leaving them unprotected. Arrogant as always, the matriarch claims she remains the strongest of all. Our protagonist, however, steps forward, declaring she is going to. Her drive is crystal clear. Must save Kim Huna and refuses to live with regret, seeing her burning resolve. Her mother allows her to go, and Nam Yun-woo joins the squad. The matriarch then promised to pay the two students handsomely for their efforts. Back at the crater, the baffled fire department had absolutely no idea what was happening. Suddenly, strange groups began descending, bringing portable toilets with them. A man in a sharp suit stepped right out of one of them. He claimed to be from the National Intelligence Service, Division 4. He ordered the firefighters to evacuate immediately, warning of a potential gas leak. In truth, they were a secret government division specializing in supernatural phenomena. Their leader, Gongchai, gave the word to begin the operation. Within seconds, groups of elite hunters started pouring out of those portable toilets. First came the O Dangun team with our student heroes, followed by the Yungan Ghost Squad. Then the Exorcism Squad stepped out, and the tension became instantly thick. The family matriarch and the Jang leader locked eyes with pure hostility. They traded nasty insults on sight, but Gongchai quickly shut down the bickering. He got straight to business. The mission was simple: capture the massive spider responsible. He revealed this beast was the same culprit behind the No Wang Station tragedy. That horrific train derailment at No Wang Station had claimed 70 innocent lives. The bounty on its head was a massive 1.2 billion won. Whichever group killed it took everything. Instantly, the O Dangun leader got greedy. She openly drooled over the cash, which disgusted the righteous exorcists. They found her greed incredibly vulgar, with so many lives on the line. No more time to waste. The teams began marching straight into the dark portal. Leonara watched, uneasy at how casually everyone marched toward their potential graves. Nam Gun Wu nudged her, asking if she was actually ready for this. She gave a firm nod, and the two of them stepped through last. On the other side, a dark, suffocating cave loomed, absolutely choked with webs. Dozens of corpses hung from above, and some looked centuries old. One mummy apparently dated back to the Joseon dynasty, proving this monster was ancient. An arrogant exorcist sneered at the students, telling them to run home. Leonara just cracked a dark joke, telling him she already saw death on his face. That quiet threat completely rattled him. Meanwhile, the reality of the cave sank in. This clever beast had disguised its bloody hunts as everyday accidents for years. While a Buddhist hunter began chanting prayers for the lost souls, a priest wandered off. He noticed the dusty mummies were still loaded with valuable gold jewelry. Despite the grim setting, the priest simply could not resist the temptation. He quietly snatched a heavy gold chain right off a hanging corpse. He tried to justify the theft, muttering that it was for charity. He even quoted scripture to ease his guilty conscience, but then disaster struck. A giant monster suddenly dropped from above, paralyzing everyone with fear. The beast grabbed Father Choi by the throat and instantly swallowed him whole. Just as they all assumed he was dead, the unthinkable happened. From deep inside the beast, the priest began chanting a powerful holy prayer. Divine light erupted, blowing the creature to bloody pieces from within. He stepped out completely unscathed, leaving Leonara and the matriarch absolutely stunned. The priest dusted himself off, calmly admitting he had anticipated this trap all along. With their terrifying enemy finally out in the open, the hunters braced for war. The leader of the Jang squad saw the battle as a perfect chance to slip ahead. They leave the others behind to fight off the massive horde of spawning monsters. Meanwhile, the masked man warns the students to stay out of the way. He pulls out talismans, irritating Nam Jinhwa as the battle finally begins. As the beasts charge, the Buddhist monk acts first, creating a glowing ward. He draws a glowing mandala, creating a magical protective shield around everyone. Meanwhile, Father Choi activates his power, making 2 red crosses glow on his hands. He unleashes his holy fists, smashing through the monsters with raw spiritual power. Then an older archer tells the priest to move before launching a blazing arrow. The arrow of absolute destruction wipes out multiple beasts at once. The masked man tosses his talismans, which go off like sequential bombs. They detonate in order, unleashing massive waves of absolute destruction. Even with this teamwork, Father Choi admits he cannot keep up this relentless pace. The situation worsens as the beasts begin shattering the monk's protective barrier. The barrier cracks, sending the terrified students into a state of panic. Their master warns that her guardian deity is taking far too long to manifest. Desperate, she screams for more time, and right on cue, Nam steps up. Yun Wu stands in front of her, his body crackling with blue lightning. It is finally time to unleash his true strength. The real wolf is waking up. With his fist glowing in the dark, he charges forward with Thunderwolf energy. A giant wolf made of pure electricity forms and tears through the monsters. It electrocutes every single monster, sending high-voltage shockwaves through the entire room. A devastating blast of energy completely vaporizes every single remaining creature. The display of raw power leaves the veteran hunters completely speechless. During the shock, Nara tries to pitch in but makes a critical mistake. Her spectral arrow completely misses the target and flies straight toward Nam Jinhwa. He snaps that she is incredibly inexperienced, which instantly hurts her feelings. Meanwhile, he realizes he stood out way too much, directly defying his mother's warning. She warned him that if other hunters discovered his true nature, they would hunt him. After all, a hunter's arrow naturally seeks out dark energy, explaining why it struck him. He looks down at his hand, which is already beginning to morph into a wolf. He gets it, having already prepared himself for this outcome. He quietly endures the sharp pain, hiding his hand, and claims he is totally fine. With the room cleared, their master suggests turning the spider hunt into a little competition. A worried mother complains, claiming her son is the weakest fighter in the group. But Kim Oram boasts, declaring that he is far stronger and way more famous. The master then declares that everyone will split up from this point forward. Suddenly, they realize the sneaky Jang ghost team has already slipped away ahead of everyone. They likely went ahead to steal all the valuable treasure for themselves. This cowardly move absolutely infuriates Oram as the rogue squad pushes deeper. Using their binoculars, they locate the spider monster's massive breeding warehouse. Inside, several victims are trapped in thick cocoons, heavily drugged by paralyzing venom. The poison keeps them alive in sweet dreams, but the spider is not their target. They want a specific girl worth 6 billion won, 5 times the spider's bounty. Their leader, Jangsung, plans to rescue her only to cash in on a massive delivery. A mysterious client, as they wonder who would pay such a massive price for a child. The spider silently creeps up behind them, an instant ambush. It tears through the train car with massive fangs. The two hunters run for their lives. Fire heavy weapons loaded with talisman bullets, even so the shots. Completely useless, the creature effortlessly catches up to obliterate. First team member the hunter Kim. Before dying, Kim manages to hurl a spectral energy grenade. The blast wounds the spider and throws his partner Jang Seumbai to safety. Furious over the loss, Jang Seumbai sees the creature's true form, a woman emerging from inside a giant skull. She mocks him, sneering that his partner was weak. She says ancient swordsmen tasted much better. Jang Seumbai draws a knife, pretending he is going to fight hand to hand, which amuses the spider woman, but it was just a trick. He clicks a button on his radio, triggering a trap. Two panels flare up, forming a massive explosive talisman on the ground. Beneath her feet, as the explosion rips through, he keeps firing without stop. But she survives. The beast instantly counterattacks, piercing Jang Seumbai with the skull's sharp fangs. Disappointed, she says he only knows cheap tricks. Defeated, Jang Seumbai warns her that his companions will hunt her down. The spider woman replies that she knows, leaving the path open for more tasty hunters. She drips a strange liquid onto him. Sleep. Sleep and dream of her. The moment that liquid touches Jang Seumbai's forehead, he begins to laugh crazily before falling into a deep sleep. Shortly after, his body is wrapped up and stored inside a spider cocoon, however, inside another cocoon nearby. Hando manages to use his magic to break free. He wakes up confused in a filthy place and quickly defeats one of the small spiders guarding him. This disgusting environment triggers dark memories of his terrible past. Since childhood, Hando had been called a monster, a creature sent by demons to destroy families. To escape this abuse, he ended up running away to another hell, a pig slaughterhouse. Day after day, he would sit in the shadows and watch terrified animals screaming as they waited for slaughter. Hearing those screams, he completely lost his mind, unable to tell if he was human or animal. On the day he gave up on everything, a miracle appeared. Matriarch Kim found him and asked why he hid behind a fence, as if it were a self-imposed limit. She made him choose live like a pig among pigs, hiding behind that limit, or walk as a human among humans. He chose humanity. Back in the present, Hando fully wakes up and realizes he was dragged into the spider's lair after a venomous bite to his neck, yet his mind is suddenly crystal clear. He decides he needs to escape as quickly as possible, but the place is dark and packed with monsters. Searching for an exit, he sees that monsters are everywhere. Escaping silently is completely off the table. He will probably have to fight. Meanwhile, the rest of the Odingun team is completely Lost, realizing the entire place is a massive pit, they regret not joining the exorcists, thinking they just lost the 1.2 billion reward. Suddenly, one of them finds Hando's discarded gear bag on the ground. The matriarch Kim is shocked to realize he is nearby, and the team decides to. They hurry to search for him. Far away, Hondo finally spots a massive hole in the wall. He hopes it is an exit, but stepping through reveals an absolute nightmare. Dozens of human bodies hang wrapped in thick cocoons, trapped in a deep sleep. This is clearly no exit. It is some kind of monstrous food larder. You can practically feel his horror as he compares them to pigs in a slaughterhouse. Panic grips him tightly, and his mind screams at him to escape immediately. But right there in the dark, he spots the girl he saved back on the bus. She barely whispers for help, and Hondo immediately covers her mouth to stay quiet. Too late, the massive spider queen creeps into the chamber, sensing something. She grumbles about a noise, muttering that her venom must not have been strong enough. She drops Jang Tsung's lifeless body and demands to know who is hiding there. Hondo shrinks back, completely overwhelmed by her massive size up close. The monster complains that her last meal lacked spiritual power, making it taste incredibly bland. Still hungry, she decides to harvest another soul, tearing away the bones to eat. She devours the meat. Hondo trembles, knowing discovery means instant, agonizing death. Fighting her is suicide. His brain screams at him to just run. Suddenly, several human skeletons come crashing down behind him. The sound brings back dark memories of his old escape and his self-imposed limits. Right then, the Spider Queen reaches out and grabs the $6 billion girl. Now watch, because Hondo completely snaps here, leaping straight into the fight. He drives a massive fist into the monster, screaming at her to stop eating people. His strikes explode with built-up hatred, and for a second, he thinks he won. But the creature's broken skin begins to heal. She is still very much alive. Annoyed, the Spider Queen recognizes him from the bus crash. She demands to know how he survived her highly lethal, venomous fangs. Hondo scoffs, telling her he did not feel a single drop of poison. He calls her absolutely disgusting, completely pushing her over the edge. He challenges her to defeat him in 5 seconds, but she thinks he is bluffing. She strikes with a massive fang, instantly shattering Hondo's magic barrier. The impact sends him flying, and he knows another hit like that will break him. If his body takes another blow, he will snap in half, so he makes a quick adjustment. By having the size, he doubles its strength. The Spider Queen laughs. She mocks his defense as fragile glass, but Hondo remains completely unfazed. He promises to finish this fight within the 5 seconds he originally gave her. Annoyed by his talk, the monster demands he show her some real power. The warm-up is over. Hondo summons 2 small barriers, one on each arm. He begins parrying her rapid strikes, letting the barriers break with every hit. It is all part of his plan. He dodges, leaping high into the air. Now level with her face, he unleashes his massive aura to distract her. He traps her head inside a small barrier and drives a heavy kick to her stomach. The monster quickly uses her sharp fangs to shatter the magic trap. But the instant it breaks, a second barrier forms right beneath it. He set a perfect trap, planning all along to compress his magic to the limit. He will sharpen the energy into a deadly blade to finish her off. As the shield shatters, he unleashes his ultimate technique, the Soul Guillotine. The barrier morphs into a razor-sharp blade, slashing the Spider-Woman squarely. It slams her hard onto the pavement. The strike looks completely devastating, but to Hando's absolute shock, she is still breathing. She smiles, asking if his 5-second hope is already over. That big move just did not cut it. The Spider-Woman laughs in his face, bragging that every single hunter who thought they were special ended up exactly the same, dead in her graveyard. She promises to hang Hando's head on her door, but he just stares. Calling her a miserable old hag, furious, she lunges forward, bearing massive fangs. Hando barely manages to dodge, deploying fast barriers to shield himself, but He can't dodge forever. A sharp fang pierces his ankle, and immediately after, two brutal claws impale his arm, trapping him, but even cornered, Hando Suni refuses to quit. He still has one last trump card and summons another soul. Guillotine, this time pure genius. He summons that sharp barrier. Right beneath a 1-ton truck parked nearby, utilizing the massive vehicle's weight, the blade drops with crushing force, slicing the Spider-Woman's neck clean off. The violent impact blasts Hando backward, but the plan worked. Finally, she is down. Breathing a sigh of relief, he rushes over to the woman he saved on the bus. She wakes up dazed, confused, yet she still compliments his handsome face. Wait, did you think it was over? Suddenly, the Spider-Woman's severed head sprouts tiny, creepy insect legs, crawling rapidly across the floor. It scurries right back to her headless neck, reattaching itself as the monster asks if this girl is his little girlfriend. The girl mutters that she doesn't even like handsome guys. Hando fires back that he hates girls who wear their own heads as jewelry anyway. Suddenly, a thick black sludge of evil spirits wraps her flesh, sealing her neck tight. The Spider-Woman mutates, growing massive and terrifying. She lashes out with brand new gigantic claws, forcing Hando to throw up a barrier to protect them. But her raw strength is insane. Those toxic claws shatter the shield, digging deep into his shoulder. Yet, instead of screaming, Hando begins to grin. This lethal venom is dragging him into a deep hallucination. Long-buried memory. Suddenly, he is back at the mansion of the wealthy couple who adopted him from the orphanage. Back then, everything felt pretty perfect. He truly believed he had found a real, loving family, until the day everything changed. The couple finally had their own biological daughter. Instantly, Hando became a ghost in his own home, entirely cast aside. He was no longer wanted. Things got infinitely worse when his true identity was exposed, terrifying his adoptive parents. For 4 long, agonizing years, they treated him like an animal, locking him deep inside a cold basement, a heavy chain clamped around his neck, painful days, endless suffering, hunger, thirst, and crippling loneliness. To endure it, he counted floating dust. The absolute sole source of warmth in that dark hole was his little sister Somi. She would secretly smuggle him scraps, risking severe punishment from their cruel parents. Then came the day she brought him food, plus a hidden key. He unlocked his chains, escaping into the pouring rain, completely lost. He spotted a passing truck full of pigs and realized it was his only a secret hiding place, somewhere he could camouflage his nature. Tired of everything, he chose to live with animals. But today, the trauma only fuels his raw fury. The Spider-Woman quickly realizes her toxic poison is somehow failing. With no happy memories to corrupt, she angrily flings him. Hando screams in absolute agony, yet he conjures a barrier. With a devastating swing, the monster shatters his defensive shield. The impact drives him deep into the ground, sparking a brutal barrage. He takes hits from her 8 legs, but refuses to pass out. The Spider-Woman mockingly asks if he finally understands his place. Hando always knew she was far too powerful, yet he keeps rising. In his mind, he hears a voice begging him to stop hiding. He could live as a human if he wanted to, rather than a beast. That is why he fights to the end, even if it costs his life. The Spider-Woman laughs at his resolve and drives a fang into his chest. The brutal strike tears at his soul, sending Hando into deep shock. But in the final second, team leader Kim arrives to save him. She lands a devastating blow that sends the monster flying backward. She screams at the beast, never to touch her beloved son again. The force of the impact slams the Spider-Woman to the ground. Within moments, the rest of the Odin team rushes to help. Kim complains about the scratches on her handsome boy. Seeing his family assemble, Hando breaks down in emotional tears. Nara jokes it is for the money, but we know better. His older brother Gihan holds him, and even young Nam is there. Nam claims they are not brothers, but Hando still smiles. He realizes he has finally found a family and a place to belong. The Spider-Woman slowly rises, genuinely impressed by their strange power. Matriarch Kim instantly assumes the high praise is for her. But the monster points past her, focusing directly on Nara. 800 years, and she has never sensed energy so delicious. She licks her lips, eager to swallow the girl whole. Nam steps forward with absolute anger, drawing a hard line. He promises to crush the spider with his bare hands. In response, the queen summons a loyal skeleton knight. She introduces him as her ninth husband, a traitor turned puppet. She wraps him in dark magic, securing her control. She orders her skeletal minions to capture Nara immediately. Nam charges forward, striking the knight with an electric punch. It barely leaves a scratch. The skeleton counterattacks. Kim blocks the sword and tells Nam to go for the queen. Meanwhile, Hando uses his barrier to shield Nara. She uses magic pencils to strike from behind the shield. Hando tells her to trust him, the barrier will hold. Watching the two of them coordinate, Nam plans his next move. He completely misinterprets the scene. Pure, blinding jealousy hits him. Furious, he starts punching the spider minions while screaming at Hando not to take advantage of the situation. Unleashing absolute fury, he wipes out dozens of creatures with his lightning fists, yelling at Nara not to trust that senior, but to trust him instead. Too far. Furious, Yunwoo challenges the giant spider queen to a duel. Directly, she strikes with a massive, razor-sharp claw, but he counters with an electric punch so devastating her limb goes limp before he slams her into the concrete. But the queen mockingly warns him not to celebrate just for breaking one arm. Then tragedy strikes. Her other limbs impale right through Yunwoo's chest, blindsiding him completely and leaving a horrific wound. Onlookers and his family gasp in terror. Yet instead of screaming in agony, he smiles, and a dark, rumbling voice echoes, warning that he would eventually need the wolf, since they are one and the same. Right before their eyes, a nightmare begins. Yunwoo starts to change. He turns into a massive black wolf. The queen mocks this new form, but he just slams her head into the dirt, a single, brutal swipe. The raw force is so terrifying that Hando warns Nara to stay back. He is too dangerous. His family screams for him to turn back. He doesn't hear them. Annoyed, the Spider Queen snaps her fingers, instantly wrapping him in a dense web cocoon. She hurls a massive bust to crush him, but the werewolf evades with insane speed. Charging forward again, a rogue train suddenly appears, crashing directly into him midair. Not enough, that train crash doesn't even faze this absolute monster. He bursts right through the train walls, continuing his relentless chase. A brutal kick to her head drives the Spider Queen deep into the earth. Screaming in agony, she finally realizes that Yunwoo is nothing but a wild predator, just like her. She gasps that they share the same pitch-black soul, but he silences her instantly, impaling her. Her abdomen with one blow, he whispers that she has it all wrong. She is the helpless prey, and he is the apex predator. She is utterly terrified. She tries to reason. Instead, he tears her claws off like wet paper. He continues to shred her apart. Terrified and out of options, she makes one last desperate plea, begging him to spare her life by offering a place in a new world. A world where darkness rules and he can run free. She gasps out a name, mentioning someone named Pongbeak, but the wolf cuts her off with a final, crushing punch. He rips out her raw dark essence and immediately begins to feed. Suddenly, Matriarch Kim rushes in and shoves him away, stopping the dark absorption. The beast viciously turns on his own mother, who feels her strength rapidly fading. As he bares his fangs to strike her down, she struggles to hold him back. Suddenly, his brother Guihan locks him down with a red shackle spell. The matriarch prepares a knockout blow, but a bright light flashes as Nara runs up. She hugs the beast from behind, softly saying the Spider Queen is already dead. Nara begs him to stop, whispering that she knows he did this to protect them and she trusts him. Unbelievable, the soft hug actually works. He drops to his knees, breathing heavily. But the peace is brief. Suddenly, his wild instincts flare right back up. He violently grabs Nara by the neck, growling that she belongs to him now. He calls her his shiny prize, warning that neither the Rat King nor Pongbeak can steal her. No one can take her. He slowly opens his terrifying jaws to begin. Devour Nara's soul when a timer runs out, and a talisman arrow strikes his back, causing a massive explosion. A squad of exorcists suddenly appears, shocked to find an evil wolf, finally realizing that Goon Wu was actually a monster all along. The exorcist master quickly summons her guardian deity, a fierce general spirit, and orders the beast's immediate execution. But right as they prepare to strike, Nara steps in front of the wolf to shield him, yelling that he's her friend, not a monster. The group's priest argues that the creature was about to eat her alive, but the girl insists he is just going through puberty, leaving everyone completely baffled. Ignoring the ridiculous excuse, an exorcist lets fly a lethal annihilation arrow. Hando Sunbi conjures a shield to protect his brother, demanding to know what they are doing, but the beast shatters the barrier, grabs Nara, and escapes just as the giant deity attacks, holding the terrified girl close to his chest. He leaps up the walls and vanishes in a flash. His family tries to give chase, but his wild speed is too fast. Gyuhan falls behind, wondering, honestly, could he even calm his brother down if he caught up? Chasing hard after his monstrous brother, Gyuhan clings to a tiny shred of hope that Nara, the girl in the wolf's arms, can soothe his rage. Meanwhile, through all this chaos, the leader of the exorcists simply cannot comprehend why everyone is shielding such a bloodthirsty beast. Hearing this, matriarch Kim Oren cuts her off, coldly telling them to stay out of their business. Declaring that her family will handle their own, she takes it a step further, threatening to destroy anyone who dares touch her children again. Talk about terrifying, right? Then they notice the Odingun squad has successfully managed to secure the massive spider, proving the rumors that Kim Oren is truly one of the best. Hando Sunbi, focused entirely on the cash, begins searching for the spider's head, which holds the valuable bounty. Kim Oren also grows desperate, thinking about the 1.2 billion she might lose. Suddenly, the spider's severed head sprouts tiny legs and attempts to run, proving to be far more resilient than they thought. When someone mockingly calls it a cockroach, the head charges forward in a rage, but is swiftly crushed by Jang Soon, who uses his blade. The matriarch is outraged, accusing the ghost Jang Soon of trying to steal her prize money, but he explains he only wanted to avenge his fallen partner and had no plans to cheat. To prove it, he gives up the reward, handing the head straight to Kim Oren. In reality, Jang Soon has a much bigger bounty in mind, 6 billion won for capturing Liumi, daughter of the QJ conglomerate. He wouldn't risk that massive fortune for a mere 1.2 billion. With the spider mission over, Jang Soon starts helping the survivors. Hando Sunbi watches as he carries Liumi, the girl worth an absolute fortune. The exorcist master and Kim Oren are stunned, believing he has actually become a decent guy who helps people with zero selfish motives. Moved by this, the leader of the Odingun clan decides to assist with the rescue work too. Meanwhile, the exorcist master realizes she is also driven by more than money. Together, the team start freeing every single victim trapped in the web cocoons. Meanwhile, the special division chief is absolutely shocked to see a crowd pouring from the portable toilets, proving he really did hire the most elite hunters in the land. Meanwhile, far from all the chaos, the wolf is finally alone with Nara inside a quiet subway car. Showing zero fear, she asks if he will eat her. The wolf responds that he cannot let anyone else hurt her like that, but if the time comes, he will do it himself. Surprisingly, Nara hugs him and calls his thick fur soft and fluffy. Shocked, he asks why she is not scared, but the brave girl says she trusts Nam Yunwoo, his true human form. Trying to scare her, the beast grabs her shoulders and warns he is not that boy. Nara jokes, teasing if this is where he transforms back into a human. Just like in the classic fairy tales, but the wolf fires back with a threat. In those stories, this is where the monster eats the girl. Completely unfazed, she pulls out a magical ruler glowing with spiritual power and jams it into his chest. She demands the beast leave so her dear friend Nam Yun Woo can return. An immense blast of spiritual energy explodes, filling the entire train with light. The forced reverse transformation begins. Nearby, Gihen sees the blinding light. Fearing he is too late, he crashes through the doors expecting the absolute worst. Instead, his brother is already back to normal, resting peacefully on Nara's lap. Up on the city streets, the dangerous situation is already fully under control. Thanks to the toxic spider venom, most witnesses have completely lost their memories. This mind wipe made the cleanup extremely easy, and Kim Oren is highly praised for her perfect work. The experts analyzed the slain beast, explaining, "It was an exotic Mongolian species brought over during an ancient invasion. Their plan was to weaken the local gods and crush the people's spirit." Soon the elite team gets their 1.2 billion reward. Kim Oren immediately dreams of luxury clothes, rent, and buying a fancy apartment to escape her endless poverty. However, Gongch suddenly arrives with some terrible news. It is time to pay for damages. He deducts 300 million for a ruined factory, 400 million for subway repairs, and 200 million more as a steep usage fee for special gears. Out of that massive 1.2 billion, only 300 million remains. Outraged, she screams and accuses him of being a thief. Meanwhile, far from the financial meltdown, Liyumi learns her powerful father is waiting for her. She is shocked, thinking he never even realized she ran away. Hondo approaches the surprised girl, asking why she fled in the first place and why he risked so much to keep her safe. This is not their very first meeting, and he urges her to return home because her family is incredibly worried about her. As he bids farewell, Liyumi finally recognizes him as her childhood brother from the pens. She feels deep sorrow for the scars his cruel adoptive parents left on him, but is glad he is safe. Since they are no longer family, she wonders if she can love him as something more. Her words send Hondo spiraling right back into his darkest memories of childhood, a deep pit from which he can never escape. Then he remembers the exact day he met Kim Oren. She saved his life right after his escape and kindly asked if he had anywhere left to go. With no family or home, he had no answer. It was then the matriarch offered to become his new mother. This single beautiful memory gives him all the strength to climb out of his internal darkness. He chooses the love he wants to carry. Just as he smiles, Kim Oren herself suddenly appears looking incredibly hyper, saying, realizing it is all finally over, they can at last make their way back home. Knowing he has a home makes Hondo feel warm as the matriarch hugs him. She promises a hot dinner the moment they arrive. For once, he feels truly happy. He is overjoyed to have a real family. Meanwhile, the focus shifts to the chairman, who is notified of his daughter's arrival. Looking exhausted, Sunumi finally enters. She steps inside to face her father, but the atmosphere remains incredibly tense. Despite surviving a brutal car crash and falling deep into a sinkhole, unharmed without a single scratch, she coldly tells her father not to worry about her. Hearing this, the chairman delivers a harsh slap right across his daughter's face, absolutely furious that she ran away and brought shame to their family name. Sunumi confronts him, saying he has changed and is acting completely out of character, especially with her mother hospitalized for 3 long years for no clear reason. She accuses him of never visiting his wife and ignoring his own flesh and blood, asking if he even remembered that her birthday was just yesterday. His response is incredibly violent. He strikes Sunumi once more, and just as he raises a heavy club to strike her, a man in a formal suit stops him. This is Pung Beek, who stops the blow, saying that Miss Sunumi has clearly gotten the message. He strongly advises the girl to behave, claiming her father is destined for great things. In this country, and she must not embarrass him, the chairman then reveals. It was actually a certain Mr. Kim who found her, ordering her to thank him. But Sunami knows in her heart that Pung Beek is the one who ruined her life. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Junwoo is busy tending to Nara. He gently applies medicine to the deep claw marks he left on her neck. Feeling deeply guilty, he explains that his inner beast simply took over. Offering a heartfelt apology, but Nara forgives him, blaming the wolf instead. Yet Junwoo insists the wolf is a part of him too, swearing it will never happen again. Suddenly, the white bandage wrapped around her neck slowly slips off. As he carefully presses it back in place, the atmosphere completely shifts. Nara suddenly realizes just how handsome he is, making her heart skip a beat. Junwoo notices her striking beauty too, and they slowly line in. Is this really happening? But just before their lips touch, the doorknob rattles. It is Nara's mother. Asking why she is sitting in the dark, terrified, Junwoo dives under the blankets. Nara tells her mother she was sleeping, claiming the male voice was just online. But her mother is not easily fooled, remaining deeply suspicious of her daughter. She mentions that her daughter has been acting odd, noting that the room, which was once a total mess, is now spotless. She suggests with a smirk that Nara has finally got a boyfriend. As Nara denies it, Junwoo, still hiding under the covers, starts breathing near her navel, tickling her intensely. She tries not to laugh, but accidentally knees his chin with a loud thud. The mother asks what that noise was, leaving Nara with no choice but to whip. Though sees a black wolf on the bed, and Jaehyun Woo is glad he transformed just in time to escape. Nara quickly makes up an excuse, saying the dog belongs to a classmate. When her mother tries petting him, the wolf growls out loud at her, so Nara taps his head to scold him. Then, in a slip-up, she lets slip his real name is Nam Gunwoo, but she quickly corrects herself, claiming the dog's name is Munchie.